In the year 2020, portals to other dimensions began to appear, and an extraordinary event unfolded in this peaceful world. Governments mobilized their militaries to enter these portals to investigate, but no one ever returned, and monsters started pouring out from them. They were abandoned, possessing overwhelming power capable of crushing any modern weapon. These monsters began slaughtering humanity everywhere. But then, individuals granted superior power and skills by supernatural forces emerged. They were called hunters. With hunters on the front lines, humanity began to fight back. There were also supporters capable of granting hunters auxiliary powers, and among those hunters, there was one man with countless followers. And so, the immortal warrior who wielded the power of flames, known by the nickname Demon King, appeared. With the special qualities of a player, he steadily grew stronger through his hunts. However, the 12 great heroes, those revered as gods, grew terrified of this man. Fearing his power, they erased the Demon King from history, and those who were seen as gods created Eden thereafter. Hunters are now considered a new subspecies of humanity, while those who cannot become hunters are reduced to slaves. The hunters hold total dominion over the world. And just like that, 100 years have passed. In a forest, a black-haired boy is being trained by his close brother, Seongu, to become a hunter. Already out of breath, Seongu? Perched on a tree, he asks the black-haired boy, who is panting after running a few laps around the mountain. This is my limit. You really can't go any further? Seongu encourages him. You said you wanted to change the world, didn't you? Do you think you can become a hunter just by using willpower? To catch the eye of a supporter, you have to push past your own limits. Is that so? Did you also have to push past your limits to find your first supporter, Seongu? No, they just chose to support me. The black-haired boy says with envy, That's not fair. The world was never fair. It's just like how I'm a hunter and you're just a commoner. If you can't run, I guess we'll have to try another way. Seongu conjures a spear and hands it to the boy. Is this the property of a hunter? I never get tired of seeing it. There's nothing to be surprised about. Once you become a hunter, you'll understand. Seongu replies with a smile. Really? Once I become a hunter? The boy smiles bitterly, knowing the truth that his parents were murdered by a hunter's own hands. You gave me that book as a keepsake. It's full of all the absurdities that hunters have imposed, and I want to change that. You've helped me for so many years, but look at how everything has turned out. I guess I'll never be able to become a hunter. Becoming a hunter, as Eden teaches, is destiny, I guess. That's absolute nonsense. Seongu playfully hits him. Don't worry, you'll become a hunter, I guarantee it. By the way, do you still have that book? You ask me that all the time, of course I do. It's the only keepsake my parents left me. You said it was the memoir of a forgotten hero who was erased by the 12 great heroes, right? You ask about it so often that I've memorized it by heart. If only he were still alive, the world might have been a better place. While the boy and Seongu are talking, a girl in the sky watches them from afar. Found you. Finishing her sentence, the girl reaches out and fires a beam of purple light toward them. Seongu, feeling the magic the moment he saw it, realizes the purple light is flying straight at them. He curses under his breath and pushes the boy away. Just seconds later, a ground-shaking explosion occurs exactly where Seongu and the boy were standing. While the boy is still dazed, not understanding what is happening, he suddenly sees a girl flying down from the sky right in front of him, leaving him terrified. A hunter? What is a hunter doing here? The girl glances at the boy. If you look closely, her eyes turn purple. Kneel. The boy immediately drops to his knees. It isn't that he's listening, but rather that some power seems to be controlling him, forcing his body to move against his will. Moments later, several beams of light arrive. The men in black who just appeared immediately kneel and respectfully say, You, who rule Eden, we pay our respects to you, Lady Athena. The name Athena terrifies the boy even more. The highest-ranking individual, the ruler of Eden. One of the 12 gods who founded Eden. What is she doing here? He surely hasn't gone far. Catch him and bring him to me. As you command, my lady. The group in black answers in unison and quickly leaves to carry out their mission. Finally caught this guy. What a pity, but Athena looks at the boy. Who is he? I can't sense any magical power from him. At the same time, the boy prays silently. The memoir of the Demon King he is holding contains dirty secrets that the 12 heroes want to hide. I hope she doesn't notice and just leaves. He's just a lowly slave, Athena says, then turns her back on the boy. She walks away. The boy wonders if she's gone, but suddenly his body is released. He thinks he's escaped. But as soon as he looks up, he sees Athena standing right in front of him, looking at him with judgmental eyes. I almost missed you. I can feel magic radiating from you, even if it's just a faint trace. Your heart is pounding, and your breath is ragged, looking at how stiff you are. I guess you have something you can't show me, don't you? Take out whatever you're hiding. Spill it. What is it? My body is moving on its own. Is this a divine command? Stop! If she finds this book, I'm done for. Ignoring the dark-haired boy's inner pleas, his body acted against his will. Manipulated, he pulled the book from his pocket and held it out. It's just a book, he muttered, cursing under his breath. Damn it. My body won't listen to me. The truth about the Demon King being the real hero of humanity. Eden doesn't want the world to know that story. Everyone involved with me will have to be sacrificed. If things go south, the whole district could be wiped off the map. That's how Eden operates. They delete everything that doesn't please them or gets in their way. I can't let her have this, please! Just as Athena reached for the book, it suddenly flipped open. Magical flames erupted and Athena scrambled to cast a spell. Creating a shield just in time, she escaped the blast. Her eyes lit up with excitement. Found it! The memoirs of the Demon King! I don't know how a lowly slave like you got your hands on this, but I'll be taking it now. Just then, Seonggu appeared like a god and sent Athena flying into the chicken coop. The dark-haired boy couldn't hold back his tears, overwhelmed. Hey, guys, don't cry. Still, you did well. You held out great. Seonggu picked up the book and teased him with a smile. Wait, who are you? How could you fight Athena? She's one of the 12 gods. Seonggu handed the book back to the boy. Sorry about that. I didn't have time to explain things to you. I didn't think we'd find this so soon. You've been saying it for a long time now, haven't you? That you want to change the world. Are you betting on someone like me? A hunter designated as a god to rule over others? A talentless wretch like me, living like livestock? Waiting to be slaughtered by others? If you had the power to change the world, power that could stand against the 12 gods, would you still want to change it? Seonggu summoned a sword and pointed the tip at the boy. The boy fell silent. Just then, a scream echoed from afar. Himdo! Athena was flying toward them, weapon in hand, looking furious. Athena's coming, we're out of time, make your choice now, you can't fight her alone. Seonggu urged him on. The boy's eyes suddenly turned crimson. Yes, if I had that kind of power, I would change this world. Good! Seonggu smiled with satisfaction, then suddenly thrust the sword through the boy's chest. If you see me on the other side, let's be good to each other. What are you saying? The boy's body, with the sword still in his chest, floated into the air and began to fade. Contract executed. As per the contract, the fallen angel will support you. By the time the boy regained consciousness, he found himself transported to a cave. Checking his body for injuries, he was stunned. What the? I was clearly stabbed, but there's not a single mark on me. My body feels different. This power, the energy I feel inside. And that voice said I was being supported. Have I become a hunter? Exactly where am I? Magic flowed through his veins. Could I be inside a dungeon gate? As he wondered, he heard footsteps nearby. He quickly hid behind a rock to scope out the situation. A goblin walked by, looking around blankly. It's confirmed. I'm definitely inside a dungeon. Goblins are the lowest level monsters, but they're way more dangerous than people think. That's why they're also called the rookie killers, because of their special sense of smell and hearing, and their reckless hunting style. Many new hunters with little experience have lost their lives. I hope it just walks away without finding me. Unfortunately, the goblin's keen sense of smell picked up his scent, and it slowly began to approach. Will what I've learned actually work on this thing? I don't have a choice anyway. I have to trust the skills I've learned to survive as a hunter. The boy gently leaned down, picked up a stone, and threw it in the opposite direction of where the goblin was heading. Hearing the strange noise, the goblin turned its head. The boy seized the moment, grabbed the goblin's sword hilt and swung his other hand instantly, obliterating it. What is this power? At first I just meant to scare it and steal its weapon, but did I really become a hunter? While he was bewildered, a notification screen appeared again. The fallen angel is paying attention to you. The fallen angel is the Demon King. Suddenly, a swarm of goblins appeared, likely drawn by the noise the boy made. There were so many, and even worse, the one at the back was a chieftain. "It's the dungeon boss!" "This is it? I'm finished. I just awakened as a hunter. What makes me think I can stand up to a boss?" The boy remembered his promise to Seonggu, that if he had the power to change the world, the power to resist the 12 gods, he would definitely change the world. That's right, I can't die like this. I can't kick the bucket before I get the chance to change this world. The fallen angel applauds your fighting spirit. The fallen angel is watching me. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Fueled by determination, the boy threw himself at the goblins. In the past, watching the boy slash precisely at falling leaves with a spear, Seonggu had exclaimed in awe. "That's impressive. Watching you, I finally understand what it means to be a genius. Ordinary people have their limits. But if you had a sponsor, I'm certain you'd become an even more extraordinary hunter than anyone out there, just like you are now." Relying on his sheer will and honed skills, the black-haired guy wiped out nearly all the goblins single-handedly, leveling up as he did, leaving only the leader. No sooner had he thought that than he sensed imminent danger. He quickly rolled backward, successfully dodging a surprise attack from the boss. Even though it's just a goblin, it's still a boss-level monster. According to the records, you'd need to be at least a C-rank hunter to take it down. Usually, someone who just awakened as a hunter is only E or F rank. Can a rookie like me really take this thing out? The black-haired guy glanced at the spear in his hand. "All right, I'm betting everything on this. The fallen angel has applauded your decision and granted you the authority of flame. The spear is the Demon King's weapon, and it's the one I'm most confident in using. Plus, he channeled more power into the spear and lunged. With a single strike, he sent the boss to the underworld. You've leveled up. The spear's durability has dropped to 0. I did it. But as expected, after clearing the dungeon boss, that was all I could do. The battle wasn't just against the goblins. He had taken quite a beating himself. He couldn't hold on any longer and passed out. A while later, 2 other people appeared in the dungeon. Who on earth wiped out all these goblins? "Even the boss is dead!" One of them walked further in and saw him lying in a pool of blood. "There's a survivor. Someone's still alive." When he finally came to, he realized, I was lying in a hospital bed with an IV drip. So it wasn't a dream? Athena appeared and almost stole the Demon King's memoir. And after being stabbed by Seonggu, I woke up inside a dungeon gate. I met a goblin boss and almost died, but I survived thanks to the authority of flame that the fallen angel bestowed upon me. But then I blacked out from severe injuries. Did the hunters who came to clear the dungeon save me? While he was lost in thought, a nurse walked over and smiled. "You shouldn't be moving yet. How do you feel? Are you dizzy at all? The hunter team dispatched by the association found you and brought you here. If they hadn't, I'm not sure what would have happened to you." He asked suspiciously. "The association?" The nurse laughed. "That's right. You were badly hurt. It's a miracle you're still alive. You had an accident inside a gate. Someone from the association will be sent to see you. Until then, just get some rest." The nurse turned away, thinking to herself, "Wow, he's so handsome. I have to tell everyone." Suddenly, he spoke up. Excuse me?" The nurse turned back. "Yes? What year is it?" The nurse replied, "It seems your memory hasn't fully recovered. You must still be a bit dizzy. It's 2022. He was shocked. 2022? Over 100 years before I was born. The gates started appearing in the year 2000. 2022 was when the special hunters started making a name for themselves. The heroic age. Suddenly, Seonggu's words echoed in his mind. Hunters started calling themselves gods and ruling over humanity. Powerless people like you are forced to live like refugees, barely surviving while waiting for death. What if you could change the world? Would you do it? His heartbeat quickened. Unlike his time, where you had to be chosen by Eden to become a hunter, this era was different. Hunters awakened by gaining the support of sponsors. And this is my moment to change things. With that thought, he decisively pulled out the IV and the wires, then hopped off the bed. The nurse cried out in alarm. "Sir, getting up like that is dangerous." "I'm fine. I'm not dizzy anymore. Forget about that." "Could you tell me where the restroom is?" The nurse answered, "It's right by the entrance." He went inside and looked at himself in the mirror. He gasped, "Is this really me? I didn't have these muscles before, and I must be like 1.90 meters now. I guess my face still looks mostly the same, but my physique and appearance look like a completely different person." Right then, someone outside called out, "Is someone in there?" A few minutes later, he was sitting there wearing a hospital gown. I was sitting across from a young man who introduced himself as Kim Soo-dong from the association. Soo-dong smiled. "You were rescued by the association after the incident in the gate. I heard you're having some trouble with your memory, is that right?" I thought, must have been the nurse who told him. "Good." With a blank expression, he replied, "That's right." Soo-dong asked, "Can you tell me what you remember? Your name, your family, how you ended up in the gate, or anything else?" After he was brought to the hospital, both the hospital and the association tried to dig for information, but, of course, they couldn't find a single thing about him. No name, no family, nothing. I thought to himself, there's no way my information from the future could appear here. It's impossible. They said amnesia can happen after a gate accident or after awakening as a hunter. He smiled and replied, "I'm 23. My name is Lee Jun-gyong." Just as he was about to say his name, for some reason the title Demon King popped into his head. For some reason. He had confused his own name with the Demon King's name, but he didn't know why. You confused my name with the Demon King's and you have no idea why. So you feel like that was just the right thing to do? Hearing Jun-gyong's reply, Soo-dong felt a headache coming on and sighed softly. This is a big problem. Then he looked at Jun-gyong and asked, "If that's the case, did you feel anything while you were inside the gate?" Jun-gyong answered, "I heard a voice saying, 'We will sponsor you.' That's all I heard." Upon hearing this, Soo-dong's hands resting on the table tightened slightly. After a few seconds, he spoke up. "I see. It seems you've become a hunter, Lee Jun-gyong. Do you remember anything about the hunters?" "I don't really know, but I remember they are special people who were chosen." Soo-dong stood up and said, "Thank you for talking with me. After this, someone else might come by, but the association will be in touch with you later." Suddenly, he bowed deeply. "I know you must be very confused, but you have become a very necessary and important person to this world. I wish you all the best." The conversation ended, and Soo-dong took his leave. Jun-gyong stood by the window, looking down at Soo-dong in the parking lot, whispering to himself, "He's actually a pretty good guy, isn't he?" Next, he lowered his voice and called out, "Status!" Immediately, a system window appeared in front of him. Status window. Name, Lee Jun-gyong. Level 9. Class player. Nickname, Goblin Slayer. Strength, 31. Stamina, 28. Agility, 34. Magic power, 38. Authority, Fire Domination Level 2. Summoned mascot, none. Skills, known. Looking at the status board, Jun-gyong thought to himself, this is one of the qualities of the Demon King. The reason the 12 heroes had to be wary of him, and why the Demon King was able to grow faster than other hunters, and why they feared that. Eden had erased all traces of him. The Demon King was very special. To be precise, he wasn't a hunter, he was a player. Unlike hunters who need sponsors to grow and become powerful, he was able to become strong on his own. I is the only one who can grow powerful by hunting, and now I am a player. The day Jun-gyong was discharged, the nurse came to his room smiling as she said, "Mr. Lee, congratulations on becoming a hunter." "Thank you, but is becoming a hunter really something worth celebrating?" The nurse laughed and replied, "Of course, it's like winning the lottery. Even the lowest F-rank hunter can live a life of wealth and luxury that ordinary people couldn't even dream of. Beyond fighting the monsters inside the gates, there are many other things a hunter can do. You could become a blacksmith using your powers to create magical items, or you could become a bodyguard. To earn a massive fortune, even the wealthy have to wait in line just to hire you." Jun-gyong thought to himself, right, I already knew that. It was also the reason why the unchosen people became completely powerless. A strained smile appeared on his face as he asked softly, "Should I be happy about that?" The nurse suddenly remembered something. She handed a bag to Jun-gyong and said, "Oh, I almost forgot to give you this. From Mr. Kim Soo-dong. He's the one from the association. These are the clothes you were wearing when you were rescued. They said you probably wouldn't be able to wear them again, but they kept them just in case. You might need them someday. Congratulations on your discharge." Not long after, Jun-gyong left the hospital and went to a spot in the Gangnam district. Looking around, he felt emotional. This is the area for the heroes. Back in the day, I wasn't even allowed to set foot in this place. Everything here looked so bright and peaceful. Right then, Soo-dong walked up and said, "Lee Jun-gyong, I've been waiting for you. Jun-gyong turned to look at him. Supervisor Kim Soo-dong? Soo-dong said, let's go to the association. I don't think a new hunter like you should be hanging around here. Seeing the look on Jun-gyong's face change after that remark, he assumed he was worried, so he laughed and said, don't be too anxious. We've registered you as an association hunter. You'll be provided with an apartment. Because sometimes there are a few people who end up in the same situation as you. I want to congratulate you first. We have your test results. You are a C-rank hunter. You should be happy because in our country, not everyone achieves a rank of C right from the start. Then, he pointed to the car waiting at the curb and said, let's go. I'll explain the rest after we finish the registration. Thank you, Jun-gyong said, and then climbed into the car with Soo-dong to head to the Hunter Association headquarters. There, he was guided by staff to complete the registration process. Usually, ordinary people receive a rank of E or F after their first awakening. As hunters are ranked by letters, the higher the rank, the greater your potential. You will also receive special treatment. By the afternoon, as the sun began to set, Jun-gyong followed Soo-dong out of the Hunter Association headquarters and went in front of apartment number 802. We have completed your registration without any issues, and this will be your apartment, Soo-dong said. Jun-gyong opened the door and stepped inside. The next second, he was stunned by everything inside. He was even so moved that his eyes welled up with tears. Soo-dong was standing behind him, so he didn't notice. Does it suit you? The interior looks a bit dated. Jun-gyong replied, yes, I love it. Thank you very much. Deep down, he thought to himself, today is a truly special day. I finally had the chance to become a hunter, so this is what it feels like to own an apartment of my own for the first time in my life. Soo-dong spoke up. Oh, I forgot. There's one more thing I haven't told you. There are a few people who want to meet you, Mr. Lee Jun-gyong. Hearing this, Jun-gyong panicked. He spun around and asked, meet me? At the same time, he worried to himself, who could it possibly be? There's no way anyone knows I'm from the future. Soo-dong was quite surprised by Jun-gyong's somewhat excessive reaction, but he still answered. Hi is the leader of the guild alliance that saved you. He's the leader of the guild that saved your life. It seems like he's very interested in you, but you can definitely turn him down if this meeting makes you uncomfortable. Jung-hyun, have you heard of the Union Guild? He asked. Yes. They're a pretty high-profile guild that's been grabbing a lot of attention lately. Jung-hyun thought for a moment and replied, all right, I'll go. So, Soo-dong led Jung-hyun to meet the guild leader. When they met, Soo-dong immediately made introductions, first gesturing toward Jung-hyun. This is Lee Jung-hyun, he said then. He gestured toward the bald man. And this is the leader of the Union Guild, the very guild that saved you. The bald man spoke up. I'll introduce myself. You're quite tall and handsome. I'm the leader of the Union Guild. As for Jung-hyun, ever since he met Seong-gu, I didn't say a word, just staring intently at the man's bald head, thinking to himself, it's really him, that bald head. Noticing Jung-hyun's gaze, Seong-gu asked, is something wrong? Jung-hyun snapped out of it, sheepishly scratching his head as he laughed. I'm sorry if I was being rude. I didn't mean to stare, he added, then fell into deep thought. I was so shocked I almost gave myself away. I never thought I'd run into him this soon. How was the one who worried about me, taught me all the basics of being a hunter, my benefactor, the one who saved my life in my past life, the hero who gave up countless opportunities just to save the lives of others, a hero forgotten because people thought he had sacrificed himself. The morning star, Yi Seong-gu, we meet again. Seong-gu, unaware of what Jung-hyun was thinking, smiled. It's fine. Have we met before? You seem a bit familiar. Jung-hyun replied, I lost all my memories after becoming a hunter, so I'm not really sure. Then he bowed deeply and said, thank you for saving my life. Seeing this, Seong-gu smiled, thinking to himself, what a polite young man. That evening, lying in bed, Jung-hyun thought, it's all real. But what happened to my body? It feels completely different. But my moles are still in the same places, so this is definitely my body. The Demon King, an incredibly powerful hunter. He was also a forgotten hero. Why do I have his abilities? I obtained that power because the fallen angel sponsored me. In my past life, the fallen angel only sponsored one person. So what happened to the Demon King? I don't know. I don't think I'll find the answer to that right now. I've returned to this past and gained the godlike power that everyone dreams of. I've been granted a power that could change the whole world. The next morning, in a room at the Hunter Association headquarters, Jung-hyun and the others were waiting when a man with 3 scars on his cheek walked in. I introduced himself. Welcome, everyone. My name is Bae Sang-soo, one of your guardians. A few people whispered at the name. Wait, B-rank Hunter Bae Sang-soo? Why is a core member of the association acting as a guardian for a rookie hunter? That must mean there's a hunter here who has caught the association's eye. The others realized this too and started getting excited. This is my chance. If I can get his attention, I'll be able to join a top-tier guild. I'm the only one fit for that role. No, it's going to be me. Hearing the commotion, Jung-hyun, who had been dozing off at his desk, lifted his head. On the podium, Sang-soo spoke up. Today, we'll have a hunter seminar. Afterward, you'll choose your weapons and head to the area for a combat test. Don't worry, though. Do you know how hunters awaken? A young man in a blue shirt quickly raised his hand and said, Isn't it because we get chosen by sponsors? Sang-soo replied, That's right. Furthermore, a hunter's strength is assessed the moment they awaken, but a hunter can also develop on their own. A brown-haired girl stood up to speak. We can clear gates or gain the attention of sponsors through our own outstanding achievements. We can receive items or skills that have greater power through additional sponsorships. Sang-soo clapped and smirked. Great answer. It seems you're all prepared. Now I'll ask you a difficult question. What is the goal of the sponsors? The whole room went dead silent. Sang-soo thought to himself, just as I expected, not a single person can answer this. All hunters are very curious about this, but no one knows the reason why, who the sponsors are, or why they choose humans to become hunters. Sang-soo noticed Jung-hyun. What's up with that guy? Everyone else was trying so hard to get his attention. Curious, Sang-soo pointed at Jung-hyun. You, the one resting your chin on your hand. Can you answer my question? Jung-hyun was a bit surprised, then silently bowed his head, deep in thought. Sang-soo smiled and said, Don't worry, this is a question with no right answer. I just want to hear what you think. Jung-hyun said, Isn't it just for their entertainment? Everyone in the room gasped. What did he just say? Sang-soo asked, What do you mean for entertainment? Jung-hyun replied, You pick a character and tell them to hunt. And you find it entertaining when they level up and become stronger. It's just like a game. Sang-soo's jaw dropped, thinking, what an incredible way of thinking. And Jung-hyun thought to himself, the Demon King theorized that the sponsors just treat this world like a game, and because of that theory, he remained frustrated even after reaching ultimate power. This might be the most important secret for the sponsors. A moment later, in the testing area, Sasuke looked at the brown-haired girl, smiling as he said, You chose a sword, I see. Quite an excellent choice. Are you ready? The brown-haired girl looked focused, gripping the sword tightly with both hands as she replied, Yes, I'm ready. You will have to fight a starving demon. It will be fine if you can't defeat it. I will set the conditions for you to pass this test. Do you agree? The brown-haired girl smiled and answered, I agree. Don't worry too much. It has been brainwashed, so it won't have any intent to kill humans or cause fatal wounds. And now, the official test begins. As soon as he finished speaking, Sang-soo pressed the control button in his hand to open the door and let the starving demon out. A second later, the demon lunged out, screaming as it charged straight at the brown-haired girl. The brown-haired girl also proactively rushed forward and swung her sword, but the demon dodged and used its claws to scratch her arm. Seizing the moment, the demon leaped forward, ready to strike with its claws. It attacked the brown-haired girl again. Sang-soo, watching from the outside, silently thought, too dangerous. But then, he was stunned to see the brown-haired girl suddenly spin around. She used the momentum to slash the demon across its back, cutting its body in two. After that, the brown-haired girl lay on the ground, panting as if all her strength had been drained. Sang-soo stepped forward to praise her. Truly impressive. You turned the tables and took down the monster. You've passed the test. Well done. As the brown-haired girl left the testing area, Sang-soo shouted, The last one, please come in. A few seconds later, Jung-hyun walked in, one hand holding a shield and the other a spear. A spear and a shield? What a strange combination, Sang-soo silently evaluated. Looking toward Jung-hyun, the boy thought to himself, I can only join the graduation course after finishing this test. And if I perform well here, I will gain several benefits. Just then, Sang-soo spoke up. The test will begin right now, but first, all the goblins have died. so you must perform the test with a different monster. Since the monster has changed, the rules will change as well. You don't need to defeat it. The conditions to pass this test will be decided by me. It is just like the previous ones. It has been brainwashed, so it cannot cause fatal wounds. Besides, I am a B-rank hunter and I am here, so there will be no problems. Are you ready? A different monster? It must be something similar to a goblin, like an orc, perhaps. Thinking of this, Jung-hyun said, I am ready. Sang-soo smiled. As he pressed the control button, he said, Good. Your test begins right now. I was impressed by your answer earlier. I hope you won't disappoint me. The monster that the final candidate, Lee Jung-hyun, had to face was an orc with twice the strength of a normal man, and it had an incredibly intense vitality. It is known that a C-rank hunter could fight and withstand it inside a gate. The other candidates in the waiting room, after learning the opponent in Jung-hyun's test, was an orc, could not help but be terrified. What? An orc? No way! Since when are orcs included in the test? Outside, Sang-soo looked at Jung-hyun, whose entire body was enveloped in a blue light, and felt even more intrigued. Thanks to hunters who were ranked B upon their first awakening, they appeared enveloped in a dazzling blue color, like a star. Sung and currently the strongest hunter in the world, Lee Jung-hyun has managed to become a C-rank hunter on his own. He was able to block goblins at a D-rank gate. How could a newly awakened hunter do something so incredible? I simply cannot miss something this interesting at the association. Show me what you've got. The fallen angel is observing you closely. At the same moment as the notification, the orc lost patience and rushed forward to attack Jung-hyun. Jung-hyun held the spear firmly in his hand, then thrust it straight into the orc's shoulder. What a monster. It charges straight forward without even thinking. This is simpler than I thought. However, in reality, it was not that simple. The orc screamed in pain, then used one hand to grab the spear piercing through its body, getting it stuck. What is this strength? While Jung-hyun tried to pull the spear out but failed, the orc suddenly used its other hand to punch wildly at him. Luckily, Jung-hyun managed to raise his shield just in time. Successfully blocking the orc's vicious attack, the other candidates in the waiting room witnessed this and started to worry. Isn't that too dangerous? From the start. It's already an orc, so this situation isn't too surprising. The Guardian should stop this fight. At the same time, Sang-soo did not rush to act, just standing by to observe and evaluate. That was a perfect attack. If it were a human, they would have been done for with that fatal stab. But his opponent is a monster that could be considered a fairly underestimated rival. Seeing Jung-hyun's shield starting to show signs of cracking, fearing the boy would be in danger, Sang-soo started to activate his power, preparing to intervene. Unexpectedly, he saw Jung-hyun let go of the spear. Then, he spun around and kicked the orc in the face. Finally, he jumped up to gain momentum and used his shield, which had been enhanced with power, to thrust directly into the orc, making it officially disappear. Shield durability has reached 0. You have leveled up. Your fire mastery has reached level 2. Who is that? Is he really a new hunter? He stabbed the spear straight through to throw the monster off balance. That's insane. He defeated the orc assigned by the Guardian. Not just the candidates, but even Sang-soo, a B-rank hunter, was stunned by Jung-hyun's performance. What was that skill? Why would a new hunter like him possess such a skill? There isn't even an activation code. Could this be a high-level skill? There has never been a case like this since hunters existed. I cannot lose him. There has never been a case like this since the hunters first existed. I can't afford to lose him. I'll get him to the association no matter what it takes. I can't believe you actually passed my test, Hunter Lee Jun-gyong, he said, though in his mind, Jun-gyong thought the gear likely wouldn't last long. Fire Dominion is such an incredible skill. It's the source of power the Demon King wields, as well as a signature trait for becoming a high-level hunter. This isn't just any skill, it's a source of power unlike other fixed-level skills. Power gained through a sponsor allows players to level up, and their potential is incredibly high. But this gear won't survive the sheer force of it. I need equipment forged from special metals to properly use this skill. After the test, Jun-gyong returned home and hosted a small housewarming party with only 2 guests, Seo On-gu and Soo-dong. They chatted lightly while enjoying the meal. Regarding the Guardian for tomorrow's test and guidance on his path, it was clear that Seo On-gu had been appointed as Jun-gyong's Guardian for the final evaluation. It's tomorrow, right? I know you'll clear the gate, but I need to be sure you won't have any issues, Soo-dong said. Tell us about your plans moving forward. Have you thought about our proposal? I don't know why, but I have a feeling I shouldn't let you go. I don't want to pressure you, Seoan-gu said with a serious expression, while Sudong glanced at her, thinking to himself, I'm too worried. The Alliance Association, the most promising one in South Korea, is trying to track him down. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Hunter Lee Jungyong. Jungyong fell silent for a moment and replied, I must respectfully decline. May I ask the reason behind that answer? I can't explain it. I think it's an excellent offer for someone who has decided to become a combat hunter. You're right, but looking back at the past, I've already planned for every scenario. That will happen during this time. Under these circumstances, it's far too dangerous to get close to Seoan-gu right now, he thought. But aloud, Jungyong only replied, I'm sorry, but for now I don't want to be affiliated with any organization. But if you ever need my help, I would be more than happy to assist, because I owe you a favor, Hunter Lee Seoan-gu. Seoan-gu fell silent, then smiled. I will remember those words. Sudong looked back and forth between Seoan-gu and Jungyong, feeling deeply confused. What is going on here? A rookie hunter offering help to an A-rank hunter in South Korea, and this A-rank hunter is taking it seriously? I really can't understand these hunters. The next morning. Today is the Guardian's graduation exam. Before we start, I need to tell you a few things about the progress of the test. The graduation exam will be held inside this gate. However, you don't need to worry too much because I will be with you all. Saying this, Sang-soo unleashed his power, displaying an authority that stunned the candidates. It was an eye-opener. As a B-rank hunter, his power was far superior to anyone else here. Jungyong, huh? He thought. Once the candidates felt that surge of power, they began entering the dungeon. It felt quite humid. Just as Jungyong thought that, Sang-soo explained, you feel the humidity, don't you? That's because the magical energy inside the gate is very high. If everyone is ready, let's move out. Follow my lead. We're heading to this monster. Sang-soo took the lead, guiding everyone deep into the dungeon. Soon, they encountered a group of goblins. They're here. Hunters 1 and 3, prepare your weapons. Yes, sir. Hunters 1 and 3 replied and charged into battle. As a result, neither of them could take down even a single goblin. Next were number 8 and 16. Number 8 and 16 did better, each taking out one goblin. Hunter Lee Jungyong. As soon as his name was called, Jungyong darted forward like a gust of wind, wiping out the goblins with just a few basic strikes, leaving the others suspicious. Is he really a newly awakened hunter? Did he even attend the orientation? Damn it! Are the other hunters like this too? I'm seriously impressed by his weapon proficiency. He's no less skilled than a B-rank hunter like me. I can't let someone like him get away. I need to recruit him at any cost, Sang-soo thought. The incident passed, and the group continued to move forward. We'll meet the boss soon. The boss will be different. Entirely from those goblins we've been fighting, so you must be cautious. Stay sharp, check all your weapons and defensive gear. The others listened to Sang-soo and followed his orders obediently. Only Jungyong did nothing, standing silently in place. The Demon King had the power of a player. Before he could unleash his full potential, he was defeated by the 12 heroes. That might not have happened if the Demon King had developed his power faster. Therefore, I will use everything I know to become stronger than the 12 heroes and everyone else. After a while, the group continued, but they hadn't gone far, when they were all startled by a massive surge of magical power. Everyone retreat! Run to the gate now! Sang-soo quickly ordered. At the same time, from the distance, a blast of fire magic was rushing toward them. Sang-soo knew he had to dodge, but if he did, those rookie hunters would certainly lose their lives. Damn it, Sang-soo cursed, using his Poison Fang skill to clash against the incoming fire magic. That's just a fraction of the destructive power. Snake fangs alone can't fully account for what happened to the hunters recently. Worried, Sang-soo turned around quickly to check on them. Seeing them safe right behind Jung-hyun, he exclaimed in shock. I can't believe it! Hunter Jung-hyun! Jung-hyun humbly replied, No, Hunter Bae Sang-soo, you held it off perfectly. That's the only reason we're safe. Suddenly, a system window appeared right before him. The fallen angel has a request. Defeat the great goblin witch. At the same time, the others saw it too. Seeing the appearance of the monster that had just attacked them, the rookie hunters screamed in terror. That's the great goblin witch! It can easily take down B-rank hunters! Is this really a dungeon for low-rank hunters? Is the ranking system broken? Run for your life! The only one who can handle this is Hunter Bae Sang-soo. Sang-soo, much calmer, spoke up. It's no pushover. Can you all leave the gate and contact the Hunter Association for me? Jung-hyun stepped up beside Sang-soo and said, Hunter Bay Sang-soo. I want to fight it too, the rookie hunters gasped as they looked at him. Sang-soo looked at Jung-hyun seriously and warned, Don't be so overconfident. I know you can take down many goblins and even the ogre, but the great goblin witch relies on magical power, not physical. They have skills. Magic that can go toe-to-toe with B-rank hunters. Jung-hyun replied, Great goblin witch. B-rank opponents are encouraged to upgrade their skills. Their staples are fire arrows, fireballs, firewalls, and fire shields. I know it's a powerful monster, and I know how to counter it. Not all the Guardians monsters. Are things these rookie hunters can handle. Give me a chance. Sang-soo thought, What is this blind confidence? Then he said, Fine. Immediately, a notification appeared before Jung-hyun. Quest started. So, Jung-hyun headed toward the Great Goblin Witch alone. The Great Goblin Witch immediately fired several fireballs at him. Jung-hyun raised his shield to block all the fireballs. The rookie hunters cried out, That's unbelievable! The fireballs were completely blocked. Sang-soo was startled, thinking, It didn't just block it. It's absorbing it? How is that even possible? The fight continued after Jung-hyun finished blocking the fireballs with his shield, and the surface of the shield had flames clinging to it. A smirk formed on his lips as he charged toward the Great Goblin Witch. Seeing this, the witch cast another spell, creating consecutive explosions on the ground. Seconds later, a sea of fire formed like a wall separating it from Jung-hyun. The rookie hunters screamed, We were wrong! We couldn't even get close to it! We just get hit by long-range magic and have no way to fight back! At that moment, Jung-hyun took action. He pointed his spear toward the sea of fire and softly commanded, Part. Then, to everyone's disbelief, the sea of fire actually split, creating a path. Fire control! That's incredible! Jung-hyun didn't hesitate and charged at the Great Goblin Witch. The spear in his hand was quickly engulfed in flames. The Great Goblin Witch roared and created a defensive magic circle in front of itself, but it wasn't enough. Shouted and unleashed a flurry of stabs. The defensive magic shattered in an instant, and then the Great Goblin Witch was blown to pieces. After this attack from Jung-hyun, they gasped, He actually did it! A rookie actually accomplished something this extraordinary? A super rookie! He's a super rookie! That was the birth of a super rookie, amidst the cheers of the rookie hunters. Jung-hyun stood there, stunned, because he was busy checking the new system window that had appeared. Quest complete. The fallen angel is amazed by your achievement, as the quest was a success. The fallen angel wants to sponsor you. You have been given a chance to summon. Jung-hyun smiled to himself. Finally, I got it. This is why the Demon King is so powerful. Late that afternoon, at the Hunter Association headquarters, Sang-soo went to the association president's office and reported everything that had happened. After listening, the president laughed. So this is the reason you wanted to see me, huh? You're guarding him because of that C-rank hunter, right? Yes, just as you said. The president asked, Is he still down at the lowest gate? Sang-soo replied, No, he's already moved beyond that. If that's your judgment, it's not just a mistake. How far do you think that guy's potential can go? Sang-soo pondered for a moment and replied, To the level that could help you achieve your goals, Mr. President. The president turned to look at the scenery outside the window and said, I see. I want to meet that guy as soon as possible. At the same time, at the exit, as soon as Jung-hyun walked out, he saw Seong-gu and Soo-jong waiting. When Soo-jong saw him, she smiled. Ah, you're out. The alliance leader and I have been waiting for you. I was so worried after hearing the news that the gate's rank had upgraded from E to C, but it looks like it wasn't too complicated. Seong-gu laughed and asked, Did you get the association's application yet? Jung-hyun nodded and recalled that moment. Back then, Sang-soo had asked, Hunter Lee Jung-hyun, do you have any intention of joining the association? The rookie hunters exclaimed, He's being invited by the association? No way! Jung-hyun calmly replied, I'm sorry, I currently have no intention of joining any organization. Sang-soo was stunned, thinking, He's turning down the offer? But he quickly recovered and said, I understand. Though inwardly he thought to himself, If I join the association, I'd definitely level up faster. However, if I join, I won't be able to hide anything from them, and he's there. I don't want any connection to him. He's someone I have to avoid at all costs. Meanwhile, the image of a man appeared in his mind, none other than the Hunter Association chairman. Back in the present, Seonggu asked if there was anything he wanted to eat. Jung-gyu hesitated. This was even harder than deciding whether to join the association. After much deliberation, he replied, "Instant noodles." Seonggu chuckled and asked, "How about some meat?" Jung-gyu didn't say anything, but his expression gave the answer away. Seonggu threw an arm around his shoulder, pulling him along with a laugh. "All right then, let's go get some meat." By nightfall, Jung-gyu had returned to his new apartment. As he showered, memories of his battles from today replayed in his mind. After a while, Jung-gyu whispered to himself, "I've become stronger. I know that for a fact." Next, Jung-gyu quietly said, "Status." A system window appeared. Name, Lee Jung-gyu, level 11, class, assassin, title, Fallen Angels Contractor, fire domination level 2 million, mana, none, skills none. Through the sponsorship of the Fallen Angel, you have one summon. Jung-gyu thought, how could any ordinary hunter revive, even the 12 heroes? Only a few possess this ability. This is definitely thanks to this power that he was able to achieve such great feats. No wonder he could handle countless monsters like bone dragons, Cerberus, or a rock monster. If I possessed the power the Demon King once had, would my summoning command be the same? I then issued the summon command. The system notified him. You have one summoning opportunity granted by the Fallen Angel. Will you proceed? Jung-gyu didn't hesitate and repeated, "Summon." The next morning, Sudong arrived at Jung-gyu's apartment. As soon as he entered, he pointed at his phone screen and said with a grin, "Hunter Lee Jung-gyu, look at this. It's talking about you, right? Hunter Lee Jung-gyu?" Jung-gyu curiously looked at the screen and discovered an article about him. The birth of a super rookie. Awakening as a C-rank hunter and taking down a gate boss usually only happens to hunters above B rank, Sudong chuckled. I heard you defeated a great goblin witch, right? How on earth did you do that? Why didn't you tell me yesterday? Jung-gyu thought to himself, I made the front page, but none of my personal info was leaked. However, high-ranking officials in the association must have heard about it. Seeing Jung-gyu remain silent, Sudong continued, Hunters are practically more popular than celebrities these days, but you don't seem interested in that at all, Hunter Lee Jung-gyu. Jung-gyu spoke up. More importantly, there are a few things I want to ask you. What is it? I want to participate in a dungeon raid. Time passed, and Jung-gyu was now in a dungeon fighting monsters. He took them out one by one until the boss appeared, which Jung-gyu dealt with in a single strike. The system notified him. The Fallen Angel is very pleased with your actions. You have leveled up. You have cleared the dungeon. Jung-gyu looked at the skull-shaped bracelet he summoned yesterday. He sighed and thought, still no reaction. Even after killing the insects and clearing the dungeon. How am I supposed to use this thing? The skull contains a soul, but there is no soul inside, so it can't function. Jung-gyu whispered, the summoning ability must require immense power. Or a special ability. But it doesn't contain a soul at all. I thought it was a monster soul. Was I wrong? Carrying these thoughts, Jung-gyu left the dungeon. Sudong was waiting outside. As soon as Jung-gyu emerged, he approached him to congratulate him. Congratulations on completing your 4th dungeon raid. If you want to auction off any items, please hand them over to us. Jung-gyu waved his hand, and a pile of items instantly appeared, clattering onto the ground. Sudong laughed. Looks like you've acquired a whole warehouse of loot. That was fast. Once the items are auctioned, the payment will be deposited into your account. Jung-gyu asked, when does my next dungeon raid start? Sudong replied, my apologies, but there are no dungeons available for booking. Jung-gyu was stunned. This is a world full of trouble with gates that won't close. Yet there isn't a single gate available for booking? Hai then asked, I don't understand. Is something wrong? Recently, a guild has been trying to build a reputation. Their organization alone has reserved over 20 low-rank gates. Jung-gyu asked, even if they are low-rank gates, they allowed one guild to reserve 20 of them? Sudong said, you're right. Normally, associations wouldn't allow such reservations. But since the dungeon has already been cleared, they had no choice but to accept it. Hearing this, Jung-gyu suddenly remembered something. He grabbed Sudong by both arms, anxiously asking, Don't tell me the leader of that guild is Choyeon-seo? Sudong spoke up in surprise. Oh, that's right. You know about that? You're right. That's the Northern Guild. It's run by Mr. Choyeon-seo, who became a hunter before you and is also called a super rookie. Having received the correct answer, Yoongyu's eyes widened. He thought, he will soon achieve fame as a hero and will go on to spread his name as a subordinate of the 12 heroes. Having gotten the exact answer, Joongi opened his eyes wide, thinking to himself that he would soon gain fame as a hero and proceed to spread his reputation as a subordinate of the 12 heroes. Above all, he would brutally slaughter humanity and become a tyrant, the warlord Ganzer. So in the end, we finally had to meet. Suyeon stood frozen, struggling to answer. You're right. That's the Northern Guild. It's run by a man named Choi Eon, a CEO who became a hunter. Before you, he was also called a super rookie. Junji's face clouded with worry as he thought, he's known as a hero of the future, one of the famous 12 heroes, but to us, he's a bloodthirsty tyrant. With a menacing look, he is known as the warlord Ganzer. Joongi stood deep in thought. So in the end, we had to meet. That year, on a day when the rain was pouring down in sheets, a figure stood high above, looking down at the village scene. A group of people holding banners marched through the rain, chanting in unison, demanding, "Stop the construction! Protect our right to live!" The subordinate standing behind Choyeon reported, "Sir, the riots are getting out of control. What should we do now?" He frowned in anger. "They're just a bunch of nobodies. If we destroy their homes, they'll retreat on their own and find somewhere else to rebuild, that's all. Why should we pay any attention to the existence of such trash?" Gripping his weapon, he sneered. "These lowly slave-like creatures are lucky to even be alive." As he finished speaking, he leaned forward and pointed his weapon downward. His sword radiated immense power. The rain intensified. Houses, trees, and fields seemed to be wiped away. The rain refused to stop. The rising water submerged everything, leaving only a few high-rise buildings still standing. Returning to reality, hands in his pockets, he walked down the street alone. His gaze looked far into the distance, and as he walked, he whispered to himself, "After that incident, more than half of the people in the village I lived in died tragically. It was a truly horrific disaster." Suddenly, Joongi heard a commotion, a loud shout. "Stop!" He quickly turned his head. Holding his phone horizontally, the man showed the back case. A man was trembling, kneeling before two youths, crying out, "How could you do this? Just because you're hunters?" The one wearing the t-shirt didn't say a word, just kicked over the man's cart. The man panicked and begged, "Please, I beg you, stop!" Helpless, the man bowed his head and sobbed. Just then, Joongi appeared right behind them and spoke up, his voice simmering with anger. "Hey, what the hell are you guys doing?" The two were startled and looked over. The one in the t-shirt frowned and asked, "Who the hell are you?" Facing their hostility, Joongi responded clearly, "I heard the noise and came here. Was it you two? Bullying this person?" The t-shirt guy glared and barked, "Are you crazy? How dare you talk to me like that?" Joongi narrowed his eyes, challenging him. "You're the one who started it, aren't you?" They felt the energy he was radiating and grew fearful. Hunter Joongi turned to the old man and asked, "What happened?" The t-shirt guy answered for him, "Oh, you know what, old man? This thing damaged my golden body with that piece of junk cart." He grinned mockingly. "So I was just asking for compensation." Mr. Joongi stood up and countered, "What nonsense are you talking about? You were the ones who knocked over my cart and then picked a fight with me first." Joongi gritted his teeth. "Why did you push his cart over?" The t-shirt guy raised his hand, charging his energy, and casually replied, "You're a hunter too, so you should know that anyone who attacks or opposes me is an enemy. So what if I knocked over his cart? You should take a look at yourself." His eyes full of murderous intent, he laughed sinisterly. "I have a feeling you're looking to pick a fight with me." Joongi calmly warned, "Since things have gone this far, shut up and get lost." Holding back his temper, he added, "I'll spare you because you haven't actually harmed this old man yet." Enraged, the t-shirt guy tensed up, lunged forward and shouted, "You bastard! How dare you give me orders!" He threw a punch toward Joongi. Joongi tilted his body slightly, nimbly catching his arm and shoulder. He grabbed the guy's wrist tightly, used all his strength, and flipped him over. His expression remained completely deadpan. As the t-shirt guy lay sprawled on the ground, Joongi's eyes widened in surprise. The other guy was holding a short sword and was about to attack. Joongi remarked, "I didn't expect to see a weapon in a place like this." You seem pretty confident about what's going to happen next. The guy was furious and probed. You haven't joined any guild, have you? Charging in, he declared. We're on a different level than trash like you. Jungi prepared his arm to fight back. He punched the guy hard in the stomach, sending him flying into the air. The guy landed flat on his back, knocked out just like his accomplice. Looking at the two defeated losers, Jungi commented, If you hadn't mentioned it, I would have thought that guild was your mother. A moment later, the streetlights flickered on. A member of the association arrived to take them away. The t-shirt guy fumed. Do you have any idea who we are? You bastard! As they were loaded onto the truck, Su-yeon spoke up. Hunter Lee Jungi, thank you for resolving this situation. He replied, It's a serious insult to those hunters who have no intention of harming civilians. Su-yeon happily added, So we've witnessed it ourselves. This is something the association should have been concerned about. Thank you for your help. While he was talking, Jungi's face appeared pensive as he watched him reporting the incident to someone. Su-yeon gradually understood the problem and asked, Are you worried that their guild will try to take revenge on that man from earlier? The association will protect him and ensure he doesn't come to any harm. Jungi replied uneasily, Earlier, one of the hunters said he was in a guild. Where is that guild headquarters? He replied. It's honestly just a coincidence. That's the leader of the Northern Army you were asking about. You clenched your fists, thinking, it's impossible to grab all those low-level dungeons without the association's help. And you knew exactly who the current leader of the Northern Army was. Ions, the dangerous tyrant, along with the corrupt members of the Hunter Association. You once thought you could just hope they'd let it slide, but there's no way they'd ever do that. Shaking off the chaos, you replied, I understand. The Northern Army. Night fell, and faint lights began to flicker from the houses. 2 days later, just as expected, I was summoned by the association for attacking someone. A few days later, the man that Lee Jungyong had saved changed his testimony. He hung his head in shame. The hunters who had caused the trouble and kicked over the car had turned into the victims. And the person who saved him, Lee Jungyong, had become the attacker. That day, you were the one who stood up for that poor old man. Walking with Su-yeon, you couldn't stop thinking. I understand why things turned out this way, but it still feels incredibly frustrating. Su-yeon smiled to reassure you. Don't worry too much. It won't be a problem. The association isn't that corrupt yet. Jungyong glanced away, thinking to himself, he might not know, but as someone from the future, I know very well that this association has been rotten to the core since the day it was created. The two stood in front of the high-rise building, and Su-yeon said, Let's go in. With a camera installed in the top corner of the room, you were interrogated by the man sitting opposite you. Hunter Lee Jungyong, do you not remember anything? After being rescued from inside the gate? You replied, Yes. He continued asking, In the incident a few days ago, were you the first to report and apprehend the members of the Northern Army? You answered bluntly, Yes, that's right. Kai narrowed his eyes accusingly. So it is true that you threatened the old man, Lee Mun-soo, into giving false testimony that the Northern Army members attacked you first? You retorted, That is not the truth. Kai asked again, Are you saying this never happened? Jungyong quickly responded, Yes, that's right. Kai spoke up, I will conduct a cross-examination. Immediately after, Mun-soo sheepishly entered the room. Mun-soo stood behind him, and this person asked, In the incident a few days ago, is it true that Lee Jungyong, the person in front of you, threatened you to claim that the members of the Northern Guild attacked you and Hunter Lee Jungyong? He hung his head, his eyes cast down, unable to speak. Seeing that attitude, you thought, He's been threatened. What a bunch of lowlifes, just as I thought. You reassured him, Go ahead and speak comfortably. Mun-soo trembled. Yes, that young man threatened me. As if achieving his goal, Kai waved him away, not forgetting to say, Thanks for coming. Mun-soo turned to leave with heavy steps. As he neared the door, tears wouldn't stop streaming down his face in helplessness. The door closed. Kai smirked. Do you have anything else to say? Suddenly, you slid your phone in front of him. His eyes looked down in shock. The phone had recorded the images of those two hunters along with the audio. What do you guys think you're doing? Like a comeback, you said confidently. This is what I wanted to say. The main door turned slowly. Jungyong clenched his hands and walked out of the building. You thought, the association must have known the testimony was changed, but only the old man was blamed for perjury. I don't know what else I could have done in this situation. The more you thought, the more it stung. I lack the strength. Suddenly, Seo Eun-gu appeared. I heard the news. You turned your head in surprise. Mr. Seo Eun-gu? Soo-yeon scratched his head, explaining, I contacted him just in case. I don't have any connections within the association. I is the most influential person among those I could reach. You happily replied, You must have been busy. Thank you both. Seo Eun-gu joked. I can only tell you that it's all a relief now. Moon-soo walked out from somewhere and spoke, You glanced at the old man. He quickly knelt on the ground in front of you. I am sorry. I am truly, truly sorry. I trembled and wailed, Those bastards! They told me that if I didn't do it, they would destroy my granddaughter's future. I couldn't let that happen, so instead of speaking the truth, I falsely accused you. Soo-yeon widened his eyes and asked, You mean the Northern Guild threatened you? And why are you only saying this now? Moon-soo raised his head slightly. Sir, if I had spoken up, my granddaughter would have been in danger, because things turned out this way. At least I want to apologize. I am truly so sorry. Seo Eun-gu said angrily, That will not happen. As the head of the Alliance Association, I will take responsibility. Don't worry about those bastards. Go home. Hearing that, he stood up, relieved, and headed back. Why did you have the phone recording the previous altercation? You explained that recording video had become a natural habit of yours. Because you had been in so many unreasonable and unfair situations, the habit must have started from there. Your eyes suddenly went still. You quickly turned your head to look out. Seo Eun-gu immediately asked, Is that him? You replied, Yes, it's him. Seo Eun-gu emitted a great surge of power and walked forward imposingly. He said with a fake smile, Oh, I didn't think I would meet the high-ranking leader of the Alliance Association here. You seem close with the rumored super rookie, don't you? Soo-yeon's eyes widened, thinking, How does he know about that? Could it be that the association leaked his information? He extended his hand to introduce himself. I am the leader of the Northern Guild. My name is Choi Yong-seong. You looked down at that hand. He couldn't help but sense it, and then Mr. Seo Eun-gu also shook hands with him. He smiled and replied, Nice to meet you, while using his super ability to communicate with him through his eyes. But remember these warnings of mine. He was reminding him, If you don't want to become an enemy of mine and this super rookie, don't get too arrogant. His eyes widened as he listened. He quickly pulled his hand back, glanced up, and thought, Crap. Seo Eun-gu smiled, but his eyes kept tracking me, not letting me get a word in. He didn't even consider me worth being an enemy. Be careful if you don't want to die. Remember that. The scene shifts to a warm, sunny cafe. Inside, someone slams their fist onto the table, furious. This is ridiculous, Soo-yeon spat. Why did they only get a fine? He threatened a civilian. Jung-hyun recalled that in the future, punishing hunters was unheard of. He replied coolly, There are more important things to focus on. I wonder how the old man is doing, Jung-hyun continued. Lying to a hunter is a serious offense, but thanks to you stepping in to handle the whole mess, the Northern Guild had to admit their wrongdoing. The old man was released with just a warning. Sipping his coffee, he fell into deep thought. It seemed Seo Eun-gu had done something. He asked, I got it. How has the Northern Army been lately? The man's eyes filled with worry. They stayed silent. A chill ran down Jung-hyun's spine. There was no way they would just let things slide like that. He remembered the brutal image of Ion Seong, the cruel, cold-blooded murderer who would become the king of the war. Right now, he was a firm believer in karma, so he was certain he would come after him. With a worried expression, he requested, Can you help me keep tracking the Northern Army? Soo-yeon happily agreed, Of course I can. Inside, Jung-hyun's resolve sharpened. I won't let them get away with this either, he thought, his face cold. I've always believed in karma, too. Outside, the sky was clear, and the air felt fresh. Jung-hyun stood beside Seo Eun-gu. He turned his head to look at him and said, I didn't think you'd reach out to me to conquer a dungeon together. Jung-hyun looked up and replied, This dungeon is for high-level hunters, so I need your help. I'm counting on you. Seo Eun-gu replied cheerfully, It's an honor to fight alongside you. Two people approached them. One said, Is that the famous super rookie? The short-haired guy said, It's a true honor to fight with you, super rookie. The one next to him added excitedly, I never thought the day would come where we'd fight together after I saved you before. Seo Eun-gu introduced them. From the left, that's Choi Cheon-zon and Lee Hyun-seong. They're the ones who saved you earlier, and they're members of my guild. Young-hyun nodded in greeting. It's nice to meet you all. I'm Lee Young-hyun. Standing among them, he admitted to himself that he didn't remember any of them. It was hardly surprising, since the Demon King Kim-do and the Alliance had all been wiped out in his past life. Probably. Once everyone had gathered, Seo Eun-gu announced loudly, "All right, this is a C-rank gate. Let's start the raid." The gate opened and everyone focused. Elsewhere, a fierce tiger face carving was mounted on the wall of a large room. Inside, there were 3 people. The red-haired man turned, irritated. "Are you just going to let it go like that?" This is where we started expanding our territory, and that is the Ganser Guild. Choi Jon-soo, the vice guild leader wearing a mask, replied, "That's not the point. What's more important right now is stabilization." "Stabilization before expansion?" He continued. "Doesn't it look like our guild members have lost control because of what happened? How is the vice leader of the Ganser Guild Intrang?" Jon-soo glared and barked, "Nonsense! They didn't do anything wrong. Civilians are just bugs living off the scraps hunters leave behind. How could you expect us to bow and apologize to insects like that?" The eyes behind the iron mask glowed. Intrang rasped, "What did you just say?" Jon-soo gripped his chair, his eyes seething with rage. "Huh? Want to go around with me?" The two sat opposite each other, glaring like bitter enemies. Seeing this, Yeon-seong shouted, "Stop it!" He held out a hand, signaling them to quit. Jon-soo complied as if he understood, sitting still without resistance, while Jon-soo glanced over with a smug grin. Yeon-seong explained, "Since they messed with our guild, I have to apply the appropriate punishments for what they did. I'm also feeling quite interested in that kid." Intrang stood up abruptly. "Guild leader, that person said the exact same thing to me. It seems that person is also interested in that arrogant brat." Turning his face away, Intrang wondered, "That person? No way." At that point, he smirked. "That person said they would soon lay the groundwork for us and told us to wait for the signal because failure is not allowed in this northern guild." Outside, amidst the lush greenery, a gloved hand touched a red trail on the ground. A girl from the Alliance reported, "The trap is disarmed. You can proceed without any issues." A message popped up on his screen. "You have seen what you should not have seen." Smiling, Seo Eun-gu led the way, calling back to the others, "Let's keep moving." The group, all armed, marched into the jungle. Suddenly, an arrow flew in from nowhere. With lightning speed, Hyun-seong used his powers to turn the earth into a sturdy barrier. Another guild member used his power to launch a massive fireball. The flames roared intensely. Young-hyun watched, mesmerized, thinking, "This is incredible. I still have so much to learn from them. I can't believe I'm seeing hunters in real combat." Seo Eun-gu raised his sword, leaped high into the air behind him. He struck a powerful blow down on the monsters. They were all engulfed in the massive blaze, screeching in agony. Seo Eun-gu looked like a true superhero. Young-hyun stood behind him and praised, "That was impressive." Seo Eun-gu glanced back with a smile. "Thanks." Young-hyun, still feeling outmatched, replied, "I'm the one who asked for help, so I'm the one who should be thanking you," Seo Eun-gu inquired. "I hope you'll be honest with me. You must want to know just how strong the Alliance and I are, right?" Young-hyun admitted, "The Alliance is decent, but you're the one who is truly remarkable. Even though you haven't shown your full strength, you're already at this level." Cheonzon nearby chimed in, "Yeah, we'd also love to see what the power of a super rookie looks like." Seo Eun-gu added, "I'm looking forward to it too." Energy radiated from his entire body as he gripped his weapon. Young-hyun, confident, thought, "Let's do it. I don't need to hide my power in front of Seo Eun-gu anymore." With energy surging through his body and a weapon in his hand, he felt confident, thinking he didn't need to hide his power in front of Seong-jeon anymore. All at once, the monsters rushed forward, attacking with sharp spears imbued with immense power. Tapping into his fire-wielding abilities, he charged straight into the fray to face those vicious beasts. The onlookers were in awe, whispering, "He can use skills without an activation code? He's already learned high-level skills? What a super rookie." Gun-gi-eung unleashed a few basic strikes, slicing the monsters in two. Seo Eun-gu watched and thought to himself, "Those fire spears and fire shields, those aren't just skills. That's pure authority. A flurry of system notifications appeared. You have wiped out the dungeon's goblin mages. The fallen angel has sponsored you. Your stats will increase slightly. At the plaza, people were chatting. Cho Unsen spoke up cautiously. I guess it's no coincidence they call him a super rookie. Seo Ongu agreed. Even the guildmaster isn't at that level. Someone shouted at Seo Ongu, "Leader, what on earth are you doing? Why didn't you recruit such a talent?" He offered a faint, cryptic smile, turned to Seo Ongu and made his pitch. My offer still stands. As you've seen, our guild is powerful, and it's only going to get stronger, he continued. From what I've observed, your journey ahead is likely filled with thorns. Jun Gi-young thought to himself, he's spot on. Has he already figured out my direction and goals? Even though I have no ability to see through others, Seo Ongu persisted. Those bastards from the Northern Army Guild won't just sit still. If you're with us, they won't be able to touch you. He reached out his hand, offering an incredibly tempting deal. Join the Alliance Guild and I'll make you the Vice Guild leader. Everyone around them gasped. Leader? Oh my God, Jun Gi-young! I was also taken aback, thinking, suddenly becoming a Vice Guild leader? But he clenched his fist, bowed his head and said, I am very grateful for your offer, but I must decline. He laughed heartily. No need to put on that apologetic look. I can see in your eyes that you are aiming for something far greater. The phone in his pocket vibrated slightly. He pulled it out and read the messages appearing on the screen. A message sent from the Hunter Association stating, we need your help to clear a Northern Army Guild gate, along with about 100 independent hunters. He looked at the messages, a stream of thoughts racing through his mind. The Northern Army? Damn it, Choi Eun-sung won't let anyone standing in his way off the hook. Seo Ongu stroked his chin, lost in thought, ordering the mobilization of the hunter force. The Northern Army and 100 independent hunters, considering the scale of this hunt. The only guild participating is the Northern Army. Something isn't right. Jun Gi-young realized with a shock. Choi Eun-sung used the association? I get it now. This is the source. Scene change. Elsewhere, night had fallen, blanketing the lit-up building. In Chang slammed his hand onto the table, sitting there and wondering, since when did they change so much? Thinking back to old memories, his childhood friend Choi Jon-soo and his brother Choi Eun-sung, he felt frustrated. Everything has changed since they met that person. Images of everyone flashed through his mind. People who were once combative yet warm, like Choi Jon-soo, no longer viewed civilians as humans. He remembered the guildmaster, and the guildmaster, who treated everyone beneath him, regardless of whether they were commoners or hunters. He was annoyed. They were trying to kill a hunter for that very reason. He had questioned the immoral actions related to the Northern Army. People shouldn't act like that. The Northern Army has become so corrupted that it's beyond repair. But I can't leave those two behind. The phone screen in front of him suddenly lit up with a few notifications, conflicting thoughts in his head. Justice versus friendship. Scene change. To another space. Jun Gi-young stood tall and introduced himself. Very nice to meet you. My name is Lee Jun Gi-young. The person in iron armor replied, I won't be introducing myself. Brave, aren't you? He thought. I don't sense anyone coming with him. Did he come here alone to meet me? Jun Gi-young seemed to read his mind. There are only the two of us here. There are no traps, so just relax. In Chang got straight to the point. I won't talk about anything else but this. You must have received the association's mobilization order. Refuse it. He looked puzzled. Why? He continued. Do you know that our guild was also mobilized? No, he replied instantly. I know, he said sincerely. You probably don't know because you only recently became a hunter. But hunters are something far more disgusting than you think, especially the guildmaster of our guild. He isn't the amazing person everyone thinks he is. Just running into him on the street is dangerous enough. If you go inside a gate with him, he said coldly, are you trying to say you aren't sure what he'll do to me? He put his hands in his pockets. Meeting him on the street is already dangerous enough. Going into a gate with him is just as risky. So, the Northern Army, his face became fearsome, is a chaotic guild, he added. There are also evil sponsors among the good ones. They sponsor missions to kill people or mass murder missions. Guilds founded by a group of such people are called chaotic guilds. In Chang barked, What the hell? He interrupted. Isn't that what Vice Guild leader Young In Chang just told me? He replied calmly. If that wasn't the case, then you wouldn't need to warn me. His eyes lit up. I understand now. Even though you've heard of chaotic guilds, you can't reveal it to the outside world, because my relationship with the Northern Army was the same as that from the very beginning, In Chang. Ryong drew his sword in an instant, surging forward with intense rage, his shout echoing throughout the entire building. You bastard! He roared. You have no right to badmouth our guild any further! But the protagonist didn't back down. A thick blue aura erupted from his body, and he retorted, You of all people should already know this. The protagonist cleared his throat. The Northern Guild is already rotting from the inside out. Guildmaster Choi, and that Vice Guildmaster Choi, John Su, the man you trusted and kept by your side, they've both changed. Ever since you met him, the one you all serve like slaves. Ryong froze in his tracks at those words. He pulled back his killing intent, deep in thought. He only became a hunter less than a month ago, Ryong mused. No matter how fast he is, I can't believe it. That he could be on par with an A-rank hunter like me. I thought we had collected all the intelligence on him, he thought, bewildered. He even knew I had no intention of attacking. Could it be that I'm the one being seen through? And he even knows the identity of that person. Looking up at the young man standing there, a storm of thoughts raced through his mind. Lee Jungi, just what the hell are you? Ryong also went by the nickname Dragon Slayer, but he was often called the Immortal Sick Freak, having killed the son of the Demon King, a notoriously brutal monster. After slaying the Bone Dragon, he received peerless power from his sponsor, who granted him immortality for the future battles against the Demon King. According to the orders from his close friend, CEO Choi Ion, he was killed by the hero Choi Jan-soo. I need to pull him over to my side, Jungi thought, watching him intently. He may be skilled and powerful, but I want him for his integrity amidst that army of scum in the north. He's had to maintain the balance all by himself. The scene shifted to a land filled with corpses. The system notification chimed, You have cleared the land of death. After finishing the mission, Jungi's weapon gradually dissolved. The system displayed, Weapon durability, 0, weapon destroyed. He watched the weapon fade in his hands, thinking, Dominion. Once the flames erupt, no ordinary weapon can withstand it. He clenched his fist. Maybe I need to prepare something else before the hunters are mobilized. I need a new weapon. The scene shifted to a row of houses. A voice boomed from a room. Come in! Jungi stepped inside, muttering to himself. This forge feels like it's been here for ages. Inside, a blacksmith was working on a glowing red weapon, drenched in sweat. Hold on, I'm almost done, Jungi thought to himself. I can't believe I'm meeting him in person like this. One of the few hunters who awakened as a dwarf. Looking at the burly man in front of him, he thought, he's definitely going to become a master blacksmith, a hero of smithing. After 4 grueling hours, Park Jae-hoon wiped his sweat and finally noticed the person who had been standing next to him. Who are you? He asked. The protagonist turned around, thinking, I waited 4 hours and he's just asking who I am? I came to commission a weapon. By the way, are you the only one running this shop? Jae-hoon looked confused. Who are you? Why would you order a weapon from a no-name smith like me, he thought. This is weird. And you're asking if I work alone here? The protagonist replied calmly. I asked because I saw an odd hammer over there. On the wall behind Jae-hoon hung a hammer. He laughed. Looks like you've got a sharp eye. Huh? That hammer belongs to someone else. Don't worry about it, Jae-hoon asked, completely puzzled. Why did you come to me? I've never seriously crafted a weapon. Everything here is just a toy. What made you seek me out? Jungi replied, My sponsor. My sponsor told me to find you. Jae-hoon looked shocked and exclaimed, Your sponsor did that directly? That's unbelievable. I can only trust me, Jungi thought, because he himself can feel the interference from his sponsor. Park Jae-hoon is so favored that his sponsor can intervene directly. The Demon King's autobiography said as much. Jungi replayed his thoughts. Park Jae-hoon is one of the weaponsmiths for the Demon King, influenced by the 12 heroes. They split up, and Park Jae-hoon only supplied weapons to the 12 heroes. The Demon King wrote, Park Jae-hoon, if only you had followed me to the end, we could have changed history. Jae-hoon crossed his arms. Considering how weird these sponsors are, there's no reason for me not to believe you, he said bluntly. But I won't take this order. Jungi thought anxiously. Is he pissed off? Give me a reason. Jae-hoon scratched his head. Hey, it's nothing. I just don't like liars. That's why I never have any customers. The protagonist smiled, understanding the issue. He reached out his hand to Jae-hoon, who looked confused. What do you want? Why are you holding out your hand? He replied, I will ignite the flame of desire within you. Suddenly, flames erupted from his hand. He said confidently, Do you know about flame manipulation? Jae-hoon looked dismissive. You mean you can control fire with that little spark in your hand? That's ridiculous. If that's all you've got, even a smith like me could... He suddenly gasped, eyes wide. The fire on Jungi's hand had turned blue. How about now? The protagonist asked. He clenched his fist, extinguishing the flame. I can manipulate fire however I want and have complete control over it. Jae-hoon laughed, happily agreeing. A week passed. Jungi held a spear in his hand, a weapon radiating a strange, ominous aura. The protagonist looked at it in awe. This is... Jae-hoon sat to the side, crossing his arms. It can't act as a shield as you requested. Like I said, that's something I can't pull off alone. But the flame resistance on the spear you asked for? It's the best there is. The spear was intricately carved, its sharp edge radiating a raw, formidable power. He explained, I hate to say this, but given my current skills, this is the best I can do. The system interface popped up. Muspel's spear, level 1, special grade. Increases fire control. Fire resistance increased by 30%. This weapon will evolve further if exposed to fire. You thought to yourself, he said this is the best he could do. In any top-tier dungeon, this would be considered an incredibly rare artifact. If he's truly a master blacksmith, this is a legendary item. You'd usually need a major sponsor just to get your hands on one. You smirked. And out of a million of these evolving weapons, there's only one of its kind. If I own this weapon, I'll never need to swap it out again. Jae-hoon cut through your thoughts. It's not finished yet. Al began to open up. The other guy isn't here, so compared to your flames, this is just a low-tier weapon. You remembered him saying, come back but not too often. If you leave and come right back, I'll upgrade. The weapon for you. I'll leave it with you. You bowed sincerely to Jae-hoon. Suddenly, you spotted something. You paused, your eyes fixed on the skull-shaped bracelet on Jung-eun's wrist. It looked strange. You immediately asked, hey, that bracelet. It was provided by your sponsor, right? Your sponsor isn't just some ordinary person, are they? You hesitated. I'm not sure, but this is unsettling. It might be tricky to use. The system displayed skull bracelet, soul vessel, summoning, inactive, no soul contained within. You fell into deep thought. That's right. It's just a guess. But if I'm correct, Jung-eun put on his gloves, deep in thought. The skull vessel. It'll be tough to trigger the summoning if I join the raid. You gripped the weapon manifesting in your hand. But this is a much bigger discovery than I expected. You possess Muspel's spear. You lowered your head, lost in thought. If Dong and Chang were by my side, I'd have a better chance of winning. Right now, everything feels so difficult. But if what I read in that book is true, then he will help me. Jung-eun's eyes began to glow. 2 weeks until the gate raid. From the distance, shadows appeared. There were so many of them that they kicked up a thick cloud of dust. So muttered to yourself, for now, I need to get stronger. Past those shadows were monsters, their faces twisted with aggression, weapons in hand, charging at you. You leaped with such force that the ground shattered beneath you. Jung-eun flew through the air, shield in one hand and spear in the other. The tip of the spear radiated energy, suppressing the monsters below. With your eyes glowing red, you were skeptical. While I can get stronger by hunting, 2 weeks is just too little time. Even sleeping takes up too much time. 2 weeks later, now in an area filled with high-rise buildings. A notification flashed on the board. The ruler of the riverside is watching you. All preparations were complete inside the building's room. Everyone was gathered there. Ion CEO clenched his fists, showing his resolve. All preparations are complete, he shouted. From this moment on, we, the Northern Army, shall rise. The team members listened, buzzing with excitement. In Korea and all over the world, everyone will know our name. As the Northern Army leader spoke, his eyes changed color, and an immense surge of power erupted from his body. In Chang watched, stunned. An unimaginable amount of magic power. The hunter for Ion CEO has finally become an A-rank hunter. John Su smiled triumphantly. It's unbelievable. Everything is going exactly according to his plan. Now the requirements to become a hero have been met. Ion CEO opened his mouth wide and bellowed. Today, amidst the violent surge of power, he raised his hand, declaring, "The world will be shaken by the name of the Northern Army." The people below were mesmerized, cheering him on. He chuckled to himself, "And I will take it, the title of Emperor." Outside, on a quiet road with a bend, a bus was traveling along the route. On the straightaway, they saw a car moving with two people inside. The driver asked, "Are you ready to go there?" It turned out to be Su Yi-un. He continued, "You could die. Didn't I tell you about those bastards in the Northern Army? They are far more evil than you can imagine." I didn't stop talking. The Northern Army tried to raid the gate before, and were wiped out, while there's no solid proof that they were the ones who did it. Jung Yi-un sat beside him, silent, staring into the distance. You looked straight ahead and said, "It was probably them." Su Yi-un was so startled he slammed on the brakes right at the turn. He slumped over the steering wheel, helpless. Seeing his reaction, you looked over and sighed. After a long silence, Su Yi-un lifted his head and shouted angrily, "You're still going even after knowing that? You are such an important person to the association. You won't be punished if you just don't go there. Nothing is more precious than your own life." He gripped the steering wheel tight and choked out, "Please." Then Su Yi-un lowered his head and whispered, "Don't go." You didn't say a word, just smirked. You asked seriously, "Kim Su Yi-un, you said nothing is more valuable than life, right?" He answered blankly, "That's right." Upon hearing the answer, Jung Yi-un continued, "I know that too. I'm not joining today's raid just hoping for the best." You smiled confidently. "Those bastards will find out soon enough that there are many things in this life more precious than that." In a part of the city near the riverbank, a hole appeared, emitting energy. It was a new gate about to open. Everyone gathered right next to it, watching. John Yong and Hen Seong were there too. They seemed very excited. The reporter was ready with his camera crew. Jung Yi-un smiled and said to Seonggu, "I heard you declined this gate raid. Why are you here? Since I've already stated that the Northern Army is our enemy and that the super rookie is my ally, why shouldn't I be here?" He suddenly turned his head and caught Ion Seon's gaze. The man gave a sinister smirk. Seeing that, Seonggu's smile faded as he stood face to face with him and asked seriously, "You're planning to head in even without my request, aren't you?" You smiled and replied, "That's right. Are you not going to stop me? Don't you worry if I might be making a mistake? You might already know about this, but those bastards are stronger than you think. His official rank in the association is B rank." The two of them looked in the same direction. Then Jun Gyeong spoke up. "He seems to have reached the level of an A-rank hunter, Seon." Seongu replied, "You felt it too, didn't you?" Seongu cast a glance toward you and said with a smile, I'm actually more surprised by how strong you are compared to him. Nothing has gone wrong yet. I'm sure you've already got a plan in mind." He sat on a chair, arms crossed, and continued, "I've been watching your journey to becoming stronger all this time. I'll stay here and wait until you come back out." Jun Gyeong stood nearby, confused. "Why do you have to do that?" Suddenly, an intense surge of power erupted from within his body. He said in a stern voice, "Just in case you don't make it out, I won't let the Northern Army leave here with it." Hearing that, you were surprised and thought, "He's saying he's going to wipe out the entire Northern Army? He really is a terrifying guy." They stood there waiting when suddenly an announcement rang out. "The raid will begin shortly. Everyone, please finish your preparations and gather here." Choi Ion Seon would become a hero, and the ruler of the river would slaughter many hunters. 3 people, Ion Seon, John Su, and In Chang, appeared with confident expressions, followed one by the other hunters entering that space. But history will be changed right here. You walked inside with a heart full of determination. Jun Gyeong reached out to feel the surging magical energy. "We are entering the portal of the ruler of the river. You believed that in this place, I will overcome everything and claim glory." Everyone had stepped inside the portal's space. The portal gradually closed, and purple energy flowed out along with it. As more of that energy leaked out, the portal sealed shut completely. Ion Seon watched with expectant eyes and spoke up, "It's starting." A status board displayed the message, "Magical energy levels will fluctuate based on the portal's characteristics." Reading the notice made everyone anxious, and someone asked, "What? What is that supposed to mean?" "Damn it! I've never heard of this." Cheon looked at the radio in his hand, unable to hide his shock. No, I can't believe it. The rank is going up from B to B+. Junki-ong remained calm, observing the board as it continued to display the portal's features. Escape routes will be blocked. Watching the portal shrink, everyone was stunned as the portal slowly vanished, emitting a massive surge of power. One person panicked, "What kind of crazy thing is this?" Another worried, "Are we going to be trapped here?" The board flashed notifications. Countless incarnations have gathered here. The sponsors are gathered here as well. The concentration of magical energy will continue to rise. At the same time, the nerves and cells in their bodies began to change. Henseong reached out, wondering, what is happening? Jeonyong also felt something unusual. My body, it feels so hot. The board continued to show new messages. Incarnations have entered a special portal. Attention from the sponsors is still increasing. The concentration of magical energy will increase. Looking at the reading on his device, he saw the numbers changing wildly. The hunters opened their eyes wide in confusion. At the top of the monitor, the letter A appeared. John. Yong jumped, dropping the device to the ground. He gasped, A rank? Henseong shoved his fist into Jeonyong's chest and shouted, Hey, what? Jeonyong brushed Henseong's hand away and roared, Let me get out of here, an A-rank portal cannot be cleared without hero-level hunters. Some hunters fell into despair, some held their heads in confusion, and others collapsed in anxiety. Jungi-ong kept a straight face. A reaction just like I thought. This place is like a mass grave for them. You turned your head and saw Ion Seon, John Su, and In Chang standing quietly in a corner, so you guessed those guys weren't moving. They must have known early on. Ion Seon and John Su stood there calmly, observing the situation. It must have been orchestrated. The board announced, The wave will begin in a few minutes. Suddenly, Ion Seon shouted, Everyone stay calm! He reached out to reassure them. I know you are all panicked. I'm very confused too. I don't understand why this is happening either. Every portal has its risks, so unexpected incidents can happen. He continued his speech. But what is the most important thing right now? Is it despair? And then his expression changed, evoking a sense of sheer determination. He shouted, It's surviving! Do you all not want to live anymore? Ion Seon of the Northern Army will fight alongside everyone here. The board displayed, The ruler of the river is attempting to persuade. Hearing that promise, they seemed to regain their spirit. Cheon-yong happily replied, Really? We're going to survive? The hunter in front of him responded, Survey the terrain first. Henseong also confidently said, Let's go. The board signaled again. Status window. The authority is ruling the river. Incitement and command capabilities are tripled when near the river. There is also a chance to force others to obey commands. Right after that, a red alert appeared. Through the influence of the fallen angel, you have resisted the organization and its forced orders. Jungi-ong watched from afar and thought to himself, Incitement, huh? All those hunters over there have fallen for it. John-Su smiled and asked, Should we start now? Ion Seon replied, No. He said, According to his words, the wave from this portal will last for a long time, so the Northern Army should save as much energy as possible. John-Su frowned, confused. What? From high above, he watched everyone slowly dispersing. He continued, We'll stick to the plan we discussed. The Northern Army will conserve their strength and stay alive. John-Su asked, Are you going to kill everyone? He replied, Not exactly everyone. We need someone to spread the rumors that the Northern Army will focus on saving their energy until we give further orders. John-Su suggested, Can the hunters do it? They aren't idiots. They've been lured here by authority, but they'll catch on quickly if they see the Northern Army lurking in the back. Ion Cheo explained, I said, as many as possible. Send the bugs out to fight so the hunters don't get suspicious. John-Su's face paled. He thought, Is he really sacrificing his own men just for the sake of a plan? Looking down from above, he saw Young Hyong below, staring right at him. He thought, His eyes. It's like he already knows my whole plan. It's better to get rid of him as soon as possible. He suddenly shouted, In Chang! In Chang answered promptly, Yes, sir. The man standing before him wore an iron mask. It hid his face, the man he always considered to be. My loyal dog, In Chang. Because he has a pure and kind heart, I can't reveal too much of the plan to him. But there's no doubt about his skill and loyalty. Ion Cheo commanded, "Keep tracking that bastard for me, and when you get the chance, kill him." Ion Cheo truly was a cold-blooded, cruel man. Hearing that, In Chang froze for a few seconds. He laughed and said, "Is that important to me? Or is it important to the Northern Army?" He nodded in agreement. A notification appeared. The wave is about to begin. In Chang panicked. "It's here!" Monsters crawled out from the water, acting aggressively. The hunters gripped their weapons and began using their energy. Someone shouted, "Magman!" He replied, "Thank God there aren't many at this rank A gate." They rushed to attack. The other hunter warned, "If they group up, they'll be hard to handle. Let's finish this quickly." Jung Hyong saw this and thought, attacking without a formation? Even if they're low-rank monsters, that's way too reckless. He suddenly realized they were at the riverbank. The monster's cheeks puffed up, and it puckered its mouth. Whoosh! They spat out massive jets of water, hitting the hunters. The hunters were caught off guard and screamed. Jung Hyong yelled, "Get all the injured to the back and set up a defensive formation." They quickly turned and scrambled upward. Han Zeong roared, "Form up!" Jung Hyong watched, thinking, "It's not time yet. I need to understand this area better." In the distance, the Northern Army stood calmly watching. Ion Cheo saw that the time was right. He pointed his sword forward and shouted, "Destroy the enemy!" The entire Northern Army charged with murderous intent. Jung Hyong was stunned and shocked, unable to believe it. "He's using his own people!" They began cutting down the monsters mercilessly. A guild member raised his hand, encouraging them, "We can do this! Let's get everyone out of here!" "They're just mercenaries, that's all." They moved quickly, giving it their all. A northern soldier was badly clawed by a monster, and his teammate immediately used a healing skill. Jung Hyong's face darkened, and he thought, "Now I get it. The warriors fighting the mercenaries. The water monsters clawing at the Northern Army. They are the lowest-level fodder of the Northern Army." He slowly observed and analyzed. To make the other hunters feel comfortable, to make them happy, they are sacrificing their own guild members. Jung Hyong reached out and summoned his weapon. He pulled out a spear and shield, taking a fighting stance with eyes full of killing intent. "This is even better than I expected." His face was serious, his gaze sharp with determination. "I'll start the offensive." In Chang watched as he charged into battle. He stared in silence, seeing the image of Jung Hyong from the past, his eyes filled with resentment. The Northern Army followed orders after he tracked that man. Leader Choi Ion and Vice Leader Choi Jong-soo had met with that person. "One of the people you followed. That's what I mean." In Chang thought, he isn't wrong. The Northern Army is truly evil. If they keep going like this, many hunters and army members will die. He remembered the past when Ion Cheo patted his shoulder. "I trust your loyalty and kindness." In Chang began to get confused. "No, I'm sure the leader has a plan. If that's the Choi Ion that I know." Everyone was shocked and stunned, shouting, "What is happening with that guy? He's incredible!" In Chang was startled by the cheers. With fiery spear attacks, Jung Hyong scorched them one by one. They were amazed and restless. "Who is that hunter? Was he sent here to clear this gate? What's his name?" "I'm sure I've seen the names of all the hunters here." In Chang realized, has he grown this much already? Jung Hyong used the power of his spear to slash through the enemy's body with ease. Just 10 days ago, he was on par with him. The image of his fierce, red, burning eyes made In Chang stunned. But now, has he already surpassed me? A notification appeared. The wave has ended. You will have a short break. Some sponsors want to give rewards to your avatar. A series of notifications continued. The Fallen Angel is very satisfied with your performance. Your stats have increased. You have earned the title, Mermaid Hunter. Your stats have increased. Your stats have increased. Your stats have increased. Jung Hyong returned to his normal state, his face covered in sweat. The notification emphasized, the Guardian of Spears has taken an interest in you. The symbol of circles has been attracted to you. The King of Humidity shows hostility toward you. He was startled. There were so many sponsors watching him. I might actually receive a lot of sponsorship just like those powerful heroes. As Jungi pondered, a notification from the Fallen Angel popped up, showing his dissatisfaction. The sponsors interested in you have disbanded. He stood there, stunned, not getting what the hell was going on. His teammates rushed over to thank him, while Cheon-yong and Han Seong looked at him, dying to know who he actually was. Where are you from? Are you with the association? Jungi replied with a stern look. It's not over yet. There are still many waves to go. Everyone needs to hurry and prepare thoroughly. The gate is now at rank A. You don't want to die, do you? They raised their hands with determined expressions. Understood. We're starting to regain our strength now. As everyone turned to leave, Ion CEO stood motionless, his face darkening with rage. Jungi looked at him and smiled to himself. I'm certain of it. He's planning to wait for a critical moment and take down all the hunters here. I'm going to completely dismantle his plan. In time, all the hunters will be on my side. He commanded in his mind to open the status screen. Jungi was happy. I'm already at level 24. This brutal gate will be the foundation for my massive growth. I have to reach level 30 here. He watched his teammates. These hunters would follow him from now on. A moment later, the monsters blasted water columns at his shield. Jungi surged with power, his eyes glowing red as he dashed forward. He sliced the monsters clean in half. A system notification appeared. The fourth wave has ended. You will have a short rest period. Jungi froze, wiping away his sweat. He was startled to see his teammates collapsing. Damn it, 4 people are already dead. Are we actually going to make it out alive? Jungi's face darkened with tension. That's impossible, but I want to get out, and I won't let anyone else die. He clenched his fists and shouted, Why? Why is it only the Northern Army that's sitting out the fighting? Backgun was taken aback. What are you talking about? Jungi unleashed a murderous glare and roared, Do you take us for idiots? I know your plan is to stay in the back to conserve the energy of your army members. Cheon-yong and Han Seong agreed and spoke up in opposition. That's right. If you think that, then it must be the truth. Not a single member of the Northern Army has died. They haven't even been scratched. Jungi emphasized, At least fight like you mean it. You sit there and watch hunters sacrifice their lives for you. Do you think that's acceptable? Jansu approached and asked, Ioncio, are you okay? He gritted his teeth, silently fuming. My plan has failed. Ioncio narrowed his eyes, thinking, After getting through the waves by using the guild's disposable members and the hired hunters, I planned to ambush the survivors. But now it's a complete failure. The Northern Army members were also confused and anxious. They realized they were being used as meat shields, and the low-level members were wavering. Ioncio's face was filled with killing intent. The plan that person made for me is only ending up benefiting that bastard. Jansu spoke up, and he replied gently, But we'll keep going like this. Just watch a little longer. Ioncio appeared calm on the outside, but inwardly he was plotting. With the power he has shown so far, there's a massive gap between him and me. I can take him down. His face turned incredibly sinister. Besides, he's wasting his stamina fighting on the front lines. Exactly. Keep spouting nonsense. You'll be facing death soon enough. A notification appeared. The 5th wave has begun. The scene shifted to the coast, where something was about to emerge. The system announced, An intermediate boss has appeared. A gigantic sea monster approached. They screamed in terror, A sea monster? What the hell? What is up with its size? It gathered its power, preparing to unleash a move. The monster blasted a massive water column. Jungi shouted a warning, It's coming! Everyone get out of the way! Everyone quickly dodged its powerful attack. The monster continued to blast, firing huge jets of water. Han Seong exclaimed in shock, What is this? Such a devastating power! His teammates drew their bows, ready to attack. Arrows flew at the sea monster, piercing its body, but it didn't even flinch. They charged forward with spears. The monster tensed its fists, preparing to strike. Its giant hand slammed down. They tried to slash at it. Eat this! The sea monster swiped its hand casually, sending his teammates flying. They began to panic. Our attacks can't even damage it. Damn it, what do we do now? Jungi grabbed his spear and channeled his power, charging forward. A red aura enveloped his body. Jungi leaped with terrifying speed, holding his spear high, ready to smash it straight into the monster's head. The impact distorted the sea monster's face. The creature collapsed, and Jungi landed gracefully. Cheon-yong and Han Seong stared in awe. Wait, that hunter. Who is he? How is he even doing that? Jungi turned around and commanded sternly, The gates are now full of magical power. Don't try to hold back the surge of power you have. Unleash all of it. Infuse your weapons with magical power. The girl with the bow listened, then suddenly thought to herself, Infuse weapons with magical power. Isn't that something only top-tier hunters can do? Well, I guess I'll just try doing what he said. She began channeling her energy into the bow, her face lighting up with excitement. This might actually work! The empowered arrows flew straight at the aquatic beast, wounding it. They cheered excitedly. Our attacks are actually working! Lee Jungyong squinted, his expression tense. The damage was piling up, but nothing was enough to take this monster down. His spear began to emit a mysterious power. A system window popped up. Muspel's spear is absorbing the flames. Lee Jungyong raised the spear, ready to strike. For the sake of taking this bastard down, I need to destroy its magic power core. He suddenly froze, his face intensely focused. No, not yet. I have to wait a little longer. The aquatic beast was preparing to unleash its power. Everyone panicked. Damn it! Is that monster using its breath attack again? Get out of the way! Now! Determined thoughts flashed through his mind, visible in the sparks flying from Lee Jungyong's eyes. Now is the moment that we can take down that damn monster! Just as its core was exposed, he launched the spear. It flew toward the aquatic beast with terrifying speed, piercing right through its body. System messages flashed repeatedly. You have defeated the intermediate boss. The sponsors are paying attention to all of you. Some sponsors are quite amazed by you. The sponsors are extremely interested in one of you. Lee Jungyong raised his hand to recall his weapon. Muspel's spear flew back toward him. He gripped it tightly, looking at the spear with pride. The recall ability of Muspel's spear is really useful when it levels up. Everyone stood frozen, staring at him in silence. One of them spoke up, suddenly realizing, wait, I remember now. There's a rumor about a strange hunter who uses a long spear and a shield. He told Cho Enzo and Henry, making them jump. A super rookie. That's right, it's the super rookie. Cho Enzo retorted, Are you crazy? He's a hero. Do you think he might reach rank A soon? Everyone cheered, raising their hands in excitement. We might actually survive this. Have faith in our super rookie. A system window appeared. Notification. You have been promoted. You have reached rank A. For defeating the aquatic beast, you have received the water orb. Achievement unlocked. Slayer of the aquatic beast. Your stats have increased. The fallen angel has smiled upon you. Some sponsors are watching and find you very interesting. Lee Jungyong was overjoyed to see that he had finally grabbed the attention of so many sponsors. A red system window appeared. The fallen angel feels dissatisfied. The other sponsors are no longer interested in you. He thought angrily, Damn it! Good thing the player's ability is top-notch. Lee Jungyong looked up with a calm expression. Well, even the Demon King doesn't have that many sponsors. He really is impressive. He doesn't have many sponsors, but he's still incredibly powerful. The Demon King is even more impressive than me. Now, Lee Young-cheong was furious but tried to suppress it. Damn it, what did he do to get this strong in such a short time? I don't think his power stops at rank B. He began to feel afraid. But what I'm seeing proves he's already reached rank A. Lee Young-seong gritted his teeth, seething with rage, and cursed Lee Jungyong's name. In Trang stepped forward and spoke. Guildmaster, we have to leave now. He added, Was the previous event part of your plan, sir? You can't just stand here and watch any longer. Lee Young-cheong glanced at him with a stern face. In Trang continued to emphasize, If your plan didn't go as intended, you need to come up with another plan and focus on executing it. And also, his eyes lit up. Give up. He gritted his teeth, furious that he would ask him to let go of Lee Jungyong. Lee Young-seong powered up and shouted, Absurd! Do you think I'm a loser? I created, established, and brought the Northern Army to glory. And now, I'm about to become a pillar hunter of the world. Do you think I'll let that slip away so easily? He summoned his weapon. He began to shout loudly, Northern Army Guild! Lee Young-cheong pointed his sword to the sky and commanded, We will begin to use our power to purge this dungeon. The Northern Army began to surge with spirit. He started to reveal his true, cruel nature. A king's pride would not waver. Suddenly, Lee Young-cheong glanced down and saw In Trang's hat lying on the ground. The hat had been left behind. He began to recall a conversation from the past. What is this? I want you to take the position of Vice Guildmaster. Lee Young-seong had happily presented it. But I see that with your gentle face, it's going to take you some hard work to suppress the stubborn members of the guild. To get them in line, that's why I prepared this. He went silent, thinking to himself, So is the dog turning around to bite its master now? Lee Young-seong stepped on the hat, crushing it. He turned to look around. He looked down at the army on the beach. What a bunch of fools rushing to their deaths. The Northern Army began to shout with vigor. Show them the power of the Northern Army. They began slaughtering the monsters, cutting their bodies apart with ease. He gave a smug smile. How about that? This is the power of the Northern Army. Suddenly, a familiar flame appeared. The monster's limbs were severed instantly. He stood there stunned. What the hell is this? He really is on a completely different level. Everyone watching was ecstatic. He really is a super rookie. We're sure to win this wave now. Lee Jun-gyung attacked continuously with his spear at a terrifying speed. He paused, breaking a sweat. A notification window appeared. You have leveled up. Lee Jun-gyung smiled, thinking to himself, it might look like I'm wasting energy hunting monsters, but in reality, I'm combining it with stamina regeneration. As he grew stronger from leveling up, a monster appeared behind him. Someone's voice warned, "Behind you!" He attacked lightly, leaving it consumed by flames. Someone approached Jun-gyungin, calling out to him. He seemed not quite sharp enough to notice what was behind him, turning serious the moment he realized it was Dong In-chang. Anyway, I don't have eyes in the back of my head, do I? After saying that, he dashed off, leaving her alone. In-chang stood silently, observing her downcast face. Does he still despise me? In-chang sighed, but I can only stand by and watch without being able to intervene. Because of that. With that thought, she dashed off. In-chang gripped her sword and charged forward. I will do what I can. He is pushing himself to the limit to save those hunters. I need to let him know. With power radiating from her sword, In-chang cut through the monsters with ease, her eyes filled with murderous intent and a determination to leave the Northern Army Guild, her face overflowing with anger. My will to save others. As time passed, the corpses of monsters lay scattered everywhere. Jun-gyung's teammates were trying to shake a person who had fallen. Damn it, wake up! He lay motionless. Gyung-soo, please, wake up! They wept and begged desperately. Does anyone have any elixirs left? Please, I promise to pay you back once we manage to escape this portal. Please, doctor! Doctor! Jun-gyung stood deep in thought alongside In-chang. It really was hell. Even though 111 people had entered this place, not even half would survive. She approached him and asked, Are you okay? He coldly replied, I'm fine. What about you? Are you okay? The moment In-chang finished her sentence, they approached. I'm fine. Behind them came the sound of insults. Traitor! Everyone cursed at her, causing In-chang to hang her head low. Slut! Scum! Let's see if she can make it to the end. Jun-gyung was puzzled. Why were they treating her so poorly, even though she was the vice guild master? I guess the guild will kill anyone without blinking. They find her sense of justice to be an eyesore. He probed In-chang. Don't you regret it? Being a vice guild master? Jun-gyung emphasized, yet choosing to fight alongside me here? It's no different than completely turning your back on them. In-chang smiled calmly and replied, That is exactly why. Her words startled him. Because I felt like I was dependent on them and providing value to them, but when I saw you, she explained, I couldn't turn a blind eye anymore. I can't continue down the wrong path. Jun-gyung clenched his fist, responding, In-seong is going to do whatever he wants to achieve his goals soon. She replied, Don't worry, I have already freed myself. Just as they finished talking, a notification panel appeared. Warning, final monster wave beginning. Boss appearing. Warning, boss from the portal, the river monster. Atsat-sel. A tremor rippled through the ground, causing the warriors to panic. The group was crowded on the beach when, at that moment, a massive shadow surged up from the water. They all stared in shock, frozen in place. Choi Jan-seong stammered, Wait a minute. What is that? Is the river rising? What appeared was a monster with a mouth like a man-eating flower. Its entire body and pupils emitted a blue aura, looking extremely fierce as it rose high, revealing its massive size. It further proved the gap between a superior species and ordinary humans. The warriors were so terrified that their every movement was momentarily paralyzed. Some couldn't even withstand the pressure and collapsed onto the ground. Despair mounted higher and higher. This is insane. How are we supposed to... Lee Jun-gyung was also one of the witnesses present there. He blurted out a curse. Damn it! In-chang, standing next to him, suddenly spoke up. The Northern Army Guild. Choi Jan-seong has a method to kill the river monster, she mused, stating her speculation. He must have given that monster something. I'm sure of it. Choi Jan-seong has a way to defeat that giant monster. Then she turned her attention elsewhere. Before Choi Jan-seong hunted the river monster, people from the Northern Army Guild had long since swarmed in to surround the area, everyone's expression exuding danger. Some of them are going to try to sabotage the raid. You have to face them first. Standing before a large force with state-of-the-art weapons in their hands, In Chang left Jun-gyung with a brief warning. Hurry and prepare. The other warriors, meanwhile, still hadn't fully processed the situation. What is going on? Are they preparing to kill each other? She gripped the swords in her hand with immense indignation. The Northern Army Guild has been using everyone. Doesn't anyone feel like everything was extremely strange from the start? We kill them to try to monopolize the portal. Deep in her eyes was anger that had been suppressed for so long and now had the chance to erupt. I, a vice guild master of the Northern Army Guild, can testify to everyone. They will attack us right now. If you don't believe us, then just watch. If we die in battle, you will be next. He observed while thinking to himself. She really knows how to change hearts. A true dragon slayer. Looking at her, one could clearly feel that a hunter will grow in power as you approach them. Though the warriors were extremely confused, they were partly convinced. Damn it, we're going to die anyway. Then at least we should pick up our swords and fight. Half of a man's face was revealed as he sneered, useless effort. Jan-seong triumphantly gave the order, it won't change anything. Northern Army Guild, act according to the plan. The sword in his hand suddenly flashed intensely, like a halo. He shouted, and the river monster immediately turned, causing the ocean waves to splash everywhere. Jun-gyung widened his eyes in surprise. It's absorbing the water. Shortly after, the river monster opened its large mouth and shot a beam of lightning straight into the sky. The weather shifted violently. One moment it was clear and sunny, now it was raining cats and dogs. He looked up, unable to help but wonder, rain? Are they using the river monster to change the battlefield terrain to gain an advantage for themselves? Your blood-red pupils flickered with vigilance. Jun-gi stood tall, looking like a man ready to ascend to a glorious throne if he could just clear this dungeon gate. He'd be hailed as a hero of this era, a legend in the making. Jun-gi breathed out a long, tense sigh, trying to regain his composure. He had been leveling up non-stop all day, but did he really stand a chance? He smirked mockingly. Those flames look strange, don't they? Almost like they're about to burn right through this rain. Jun-gi didn't care at all. He just focused entirely on gathering his fire attribute energy. I didn't really have many options left now. He had to fight his way out. In a flash, he vanished, leaving nothing but a swirl of white smoke behind on the ground. Jun-gi leaped high into the air to gain momentum, bringing his weapon down on his enemy. The clash between his spear and the greatsword created a deafening screech. Jan-seong was the first to show signs of exhaustion. After taking that heavy hit, Jun-gi instinctively smiled as he saw his opponent's weakness exposed. I knew it. Capitalizing on the momentum, he launched a barrage of attacks. Jan-seong could only block with his sword held horizontally. Jun-gi gathered every ounce of strength for one final dive. A crimson blade slashed through the air. Jan-seong's entire body seemed caught in the attack, and finally he was sent flying back several feet. His movements slowed down significantly. Beads of sweat drenched his face, showing absolute terror. No way, what kind of skills are you using? We're standing right by a river. My power should be amplified by this environment. Yet contrary to his desperate situation, the flames surrounding Jun-gi were not fading in the rain. Jun-gi proudly revealed, Did you really think it would? The moment I stepped into this dungeon gate, I knew you were already outmatched. Jan-seong's pride was wounded. What? What are you talking about? That's impossible. Look at my sponsors. They sent me a massive donation. The more he talked, the more fired up he got. I've been conserving my energy, moving carefully like a child, and leveling up continuously while hunting monsters. Jun-gi couldn't believe his ears. What? You're not even in a rush. Don't you get it? If words couldn't make his opponent see reason, then a bit of force would do the trick. That's why I'm telling you, John. Even as stubborn as he was, Jan-seong had to silently admit he couldn't win like this. He had no choice but to rely on his monster's power. River insect, protect me! Its glowing blue eyes immediately reacted to his call. From its short, stubby limbs, it fired off a series of razor-sharp claws. Jungi was forced to back away to dodge the attack. The tides had turned and John Seong laughed triumphantly. Ha ha ha! You're so arrogant just because you got some sponsorships. But I've gained power from someone else. Power many times greater than someone like you could ever possess. I'll show you what true overwhelming strength looks like. Jungi realized the gravity of the situation. It was the river insect's protective instinct, just like a mother shielding its young. The river insect let out a roar that shook the entire space. It crawled onto the bank right behind him to guard its master, the aura radiating from it growing increasingly massive. John Seong stepped onto the river insect's jaw as it rested on the ground. Jungi gritted his teeth, focusing all his energy. Without a second's delay, he lunged forward at man and beast. His speed was so terrifying that John Seong was caught off guard. Two different techniques collided with intense pressure. Since their power was evenly matched, neither side could gain the upper hand upon impact. The speed of the strikes between In Chang and the member of the Northern Army Guild was so fast it was almost invisible to the naked eye. Her eyes glowed with a lotus-pink hue, and her whole body emitted the same light. She gripped her sword tightly, bringing it up. She focused all her might into a powerful strike. John Seong wasn't one to give up either. He raised his sword with both hands, ready to bring it down, radiating serious force. In an instant, the sword vanished, leaving only a lingering afterimage of a powerful swing. He successfully split In Chang's magical energy in two before it could even reach him. The impact created an earth-shattering tremor, kicking up clouds of dust everywhere. In Chang stood watching the chaotic scene, waiting for the result. To her surprise, her opponent wasn't finished. Far from it. He burst out of the smoke with morale at an all-time high. John Seong roared arrogantly, "If you kneel and beg for mercy right now, I might at least let you live. Do you really think you'll win? We, the Northern Army Guild, are the kings of this dungeon gate." In Chang immediately retorted, "What is wrong with you? Have you forgotten your oath to protect humanity forever?" The two continued to clash. Lightning-fast sword strikes created brilliant sparks in the air. Their armored hands expertly rotated the hilts to change angles. In Chang lunged forward again, gripping her sword in reverse. John Seong pulled his weapon back, holding his head with his other hand as if to protect it. It turned out their movements were just to gain momentum for a massive, full-force swing. Elsewhere, the river insect had now fully emerged from the water, revealing its massive length and grotesque monster appearance. The air seemed to be sucked into a cave full of jagged spikes, which was, in reality, its mouth. The tension between Jungi and John Seong was reaching its breaking point, yet neither side wanted to move first. John Seong broke into a cold sweat and shouted, "Are you out of your mind? How dare you jump right into the river insect's mouth?" Jungi responded indifferently. "What are you babbling about? Actually, I'm waiting for the river insect to swallow you whole when it's protecting its young." As a massive sword swing landed, the river worm emerged from the water, revealing its immense length and monstrous, hideous appearance. The air seemed to be sucked into a cavern full of sharp spikes, which was actually its mouth. The tension between Jungi and John Seong was reaching a breaking point. Yet neither side made a move. He broke out in a cold sweat and shouted, "You've lost your damn mind! To think you'd dare jump straight into the river worm's mouth!" He responded indifferently, "What are you babbling about? Actually, I'm just waiting for the river worm to swallow you whole while it protects its young. It will swallow you, then shield you within its own body." His expression suddenly darkened, his thoughts hidden. For regardless of the species, these creatures always have a dry inner sanctum. He slammed his spear into the ground, causing the water to ripple. Flames roared, engulfing his weapon as the heat of the battle intensified. His blood-red pupils flashed with danger. He continued, explaining that within the creature's dry stomach lies the power source obtained from a sponsor. "The river ruler's power will be more than halved, and my fire resistance will far prevail." Notification windows popped up repeatedly. Muspel's spear has absorbed the flames. Fire resistance temporarily increased. Attack power temporarily increased. A massive amount of heat slowly gathered within its own maw. Warriors struggling against the guild members were shocked to see the flames surrounding where John's CEO stood. His eyes widened, unable to believe what he was witnessing. "No, that's impossible. I am the king! I am the one born to rule!" He couldn't accept this cruel reality. His hand gripped the sword so tightly that his veins bulged as if they might burst from sheer, reckless rage. He charged, desperate to fight his enemy to the death. He blurted out the question he couldn't grasp, no matter how hard he thought. "Who the hell are you?" All John Seong got in return was a lethal blow from Jun-gyung. It turned him into a twisted, unfinished mess in the jaws of death. The reckless move left him slightly on edge. The skull emblem on his gauntlet suddenly emitted a strange light. Along with that, a new update. The soul-eating pillar has absorbed a hero's soul. The empty eye sockets of the skull were dark, like an abyss that seemed capable of seeing through all worldly vanity. He pondered, analyzing it. I know this soul-eating pillar. It doesn't consume demonic souls. It requires human souls. Above all, it demands those with extraordinary power. Breakthrough after breakthrough. As those who became heroes fell, new titles appeared. Fallen Heaven. River Ruler defeated. All support from the River Ruler had ceased. His face stiffened in shock. He turned to look aside. No way. The sponsor died? Or was it the Fallen Heaven that did it? Just then, an alert chimed. The Fallen Heaven is smiling at you. A massive sword plunged into the ground, radiating a rolling wave of dark energy. Did the sponsor die after the avatar was killed? But the records in the Demon King's library said the sponsor could never die. That power suddenly expanded, looking more and more like a cosmic black hole, finally condensing into the shape of a black crow. Jun-gyung's eyes had returned to normal. He looked down intently. The crow asked him, "You haven't responded to your answer regarding that final question. What is it?" In his mind, he replayed the image of John Seong's desperate final moments. He constantly reminded himself, killing a hunter is not the same as killing a monster. His mouth parted slightly and he uttered, "I am." His mind was in total chaos, but deep down, one thing remained carved in stone. I am a descendant of a tyrant, and furthermore, I am a follower of peace. I could become a demon king, but that is not enough. Because the world is at risk of changing, I will shoulder everything. Whether it's dishonor or sin, I will surpass the demon king. Based on that, he did not hesitate to give his final answer. Demon God. As a result, Fallen Heaven supports your decision. The crow flapped its wings, hovering in the air, answering, "How interesting. We shall meet again soon." With those words, its body vanished into nothingness, as if it had never existed. Jun-gyung muttered to himself, "Announce clearly what you have seen and heard." "Understood, my master." The battle had reached its end. The dungeon boss, the river centipede, had been annihilated. Its entire body was scorched by fire, causing it agony. It let out a tortured roar, then collapsed, merging into the water. A series of notifications appeared on the screen. You have received the highest contribution. You have received Essence of Water. You have received the achievement, Centipede Slayer. You have received the achievement, River Conqueror. You have leveled up. You have leveled up. The warriors stared in stifling silence. The people from the North Star Guild were also stunned, not knowing how to react. Black smoke rose from the roasted corpse of the monster, and the hero who had slain it slowly emerged through the heavy rain. The warriors couldn't hide their joy. Wow! The super rookie actually killed the centipede. He did it! Jun-gyung smiled in victory as his comrades cheered. However, it wasn't over yet. In-chang suddenly shouted his name. Lee Jun-gyung just looked up, only to see a figure wielding a sword charging straight at him. "You piece of trash!" The strike, fueled by all of John-su's hatred, slammed down toward Jun-gyung. Luckily, he raised his shield to block it in the nick of time. Bloodshot eyes glared as John-su let out a terrifying roar. "What have you done to my brother, huh? Everything has been destroyed because of you!" He struggled against this overwhelming power. John-su raised his sword again, preparing for a second blow. His feet skidded across the sand. Jun-gyung poured all his strength into his arm, using the shield to shove his opponent away. John-su slid back a long way, his body buckling under the force. But with iron-willed determination, he fought to keep his balance, refusing to fall. He growled like a wild beast. "Ah, you dog!" A metal weapon, forged under immense heat, swung quickly through the air. Jun-gyung didn't give his opponent a chance to speak, pointing his spear directly at his face. John-su broke into a cold sweat, realizing he had been backed into a corner. He spoke in a low, somber tone. "The reason all of you were granted power as hunters is to protect those who have fallen into danger. Great power comes with great responsibility. Those like you, who cause suffering and threaten the weak, have no right to be called hunters." John-su was basically finished, hanging his head as a way to avoid the reality. Feeling that Jong-soo could no longer fight back, he retracted his weapon. I have shed too much blood today. He didn't forget to cast one last look of disdain behind him. I don't want to see this anymore. He then walked away, having given his final warning to repent and live a better life. Yet, he never expected that the moment he turned his back on his enemy was the very moment he was paving a path for his opponent's revenge. Jong-soo's hand moved to summon his sword. The moment he let his guard down, Jong-soo seized the chance to ambush him from behind. Die! When he realized it, it was almost too late. A spray of fresh blood splattered, but it wasn't Jun-gyung's blood, because In-chang had arrived in time to block him with a counter-slash. It had narrowly saved him from a certain defeat. Jong-soo's whole body trembled, his eyes wide in disbelief. How could I? As a result, his body collapsed to the ground from excessive blood loss. A notification immediately appeared. The soul-eating pillar has absorbed another hero's soul. The skull on the gauntlet glowed with a strange light once more. You ask your benefactor, are you okay? In-jung replies briefly, I'm fine, but her expression darkens, tinged with regret and guilt. I should have stopped them sooner. If I had, this tragedy wouldn't have happened. You soften your voice to reassure her. You don't need to feel guilty for anything. You're different from them. As you speak, she suddenly points her sword downward. I think this belongs to me, she says, leaving you a bit confused. What? Without another word, she drives the sword deep into the ground. Finally, she makes her decision with a solemn expression. I won't swing this blade ever again. I will live to atone for the sins of the White Tiger Guild. As she speaks, she steps away from her weapon, leaving you in a state of utter confusion. Has she really given up? The one destined to become a superhero, Cha Hae-in. This situation is far more critical than you imagined. No, this can't happen. I won't let her just walk away like this, but for now, I can only watch her go. Gradually, the skies clear and the sea returns to its natural, crystal-clear blue. Jin-woo, who, along with the warriors now standing on the beach, faces a massive. Camera flashes from the reporters erupt. Just then, a group of people steps forward and shouts, We are from the Hunters Association. We demand that everyone stop taking pictures. The reporters suddenly stop their note-taking. Huh? Where is Choi Jong-in? Choi Jong-in isn't here either. One of them can't help but wonder, what happened in there? Was the White Tiger Guild behind this? What about that hunter standing in the middle? Hai is the central figure of this gate raid. A brilliant idea strikes him. Nobody knows his name or his face. This is definitely a scoop. Other journalists share the same thought. They barrage him with questions. Who are you? What happened inside the gate? Who are you? What is your name? A pair of feet steps forward gently on the ground. It turns out to be Cha Hae-in. She gently places a hand on Jin-woo's shoulder from behind. This is the super rookie, the one awakened at rank C, the one whose rumors have been spreading for so long. The reporters go wild instantly. What? Really? A super rookie? That person? Hai is Yu Jin-ho from the Ajin Guild. It seems Yu Jin-ho and the super rookie know each other. He raises a hand to his chin, clears his throat a few times, and speaks loudly. His voice aims to calm the press's frenzy. These hunters have just returned from a special dungeon raid, the Hell Gate. Don't you think they deserve some time to rest? Looking at the warriors covered in wounds, some of whom can barely stand, it's clear. Right now, let's give a round of applause for the heroes who returned and for those who couldn't. Please give them a round of applause. The reporters are instantly swayed by his words. They applaud enthusiastically, showing the minimum respect due to the soldiers who gave their all. However, the warriors cannot find it in them to be happy. They only look down in silence. A gate where 110 people were mobilized became a special gate, and the number of those who returned from hell reveals the losses they suffered. Losses that are not small at all. Jin-woo is also well aware of this cruel reality. Golden sunlight reflects off the calm sea, making it shimmer like silver pieces. Meanwhile, in the bustling city, traffic streams past towering skyscrapers. A black crow lurks outside the window as if waiting for someone. The association president quickly notices. When it lands on his desk, he smiles and says, Hugin, you're late. In the silent office, the president listens to the story and cannot help but exclaim, it seems he already knows they can control the shadow soldiers. And he also knows how to create heroes. How interesting. The crow utters some kind of ancient language. The president instinctively scratches his cheek in thought. Becoming stronger by hunting a demon god, huh? Without much more thought, he presses a button on his desk phone. It seems he has made his final decision. Then, I will go meet the survivors from the gate. The person on the other end quickly receives the order. I will prepare it. Suddenly, the president's eyes flash with a dangerous glint. And we don't need to worry about the White Tiger Guild anymore. Do you understand? Once again, the voice on the other end immediately complies. I understand. I will end this matter and release it to the press. Traffic rushes through the busy streets, flickering between skyscrapers that block out the sky. In-jong walks silently into the auditorium from the large doors. Her eyes reflect deep sadness as she observes her surroundings. Memories of her time under the White Tiger Guild flash through her mind, specifically, the meeting for the guild master. Now, there is only emptiness, and not a single soul. She hangs her head, lost in thought. She furrows her brow, her voice filled with a lingering, irrepressible remorse. The hunters. I truly feel disgusted by this. Suddenly, a group of people speaks up from behind her. Vice Guildmaster! She turns around, somewhat startled by their presence. You guys! A young man steps forward to speak on their behalf to In-jong. You didn't do anything wrong, Vice Guildmaster. Vice Guildmaster Choi Jong-soo and Guildmaster Choi Jong-in are the ones at fault. Even though she knows that, those words don't make her feel any better. The former members of the guild suddenly kneel in unison, startling her. Please don't give up. He pleads sincerely. I want to live a clean life as a father to my child. We will take responsibility for the mistakes of the White Tiger Guild. You are not the one who should be giving up like this, Vice Guildmaster. She insists on taking the blame upon herself to the end. This is my responsibility. I am the only leader left in the guild. You guys have no responsibility to bear these mistakes. Things have gone this far. I wasn't planning on hiding it any longer. There were a few things the Vice Guildmaster didn't know. Her expression remained as gloomy and indifferent as ever, yet his confession that followed changed everything. We're the real murderers. This brand new information struck her like a bolt of lightning, leaving her mind reeling. Scene shift to a luxury apartment building. A hand grips a soda can tightly. Seong-gu. He asks for confirmation. Did you take care of your private affairs with the press? Is there anything I shouldn't have done? Looking at Jun Gi-ot's expression, it's clear he's extremely satisfied. Not at all, on the contrary. Thanks to you, I've become this famous. A fascinating story was woven, and Lee Jun-gi-oh was transformed into a superstar in an instant. It was a reward for clearing a B-rank gate, evolving into an A-ranker. He occupied countless front pages of newspapers and television channels. The news spread rapidly with no signs of stopping. That was the reward. A C-rank hunter becoming an A-ranker in the blink of an eye. A hero who overcame adversity, the underdog. Is this guy just going to exceed expectations and clear an A-rank gate just like that? Now everyone calls you the underdog. Seong-gu puts 2 fingers under his chin, looking thoughtful. The term underdog refers to the weak, so I don't think it fits you very well. You're being polite to a hunter with no power like me. It's not entirely inappropriate, though, he says. Anyway, I was worried you might think this whole thing was a waste of time. Thanks for taking it that way. In his mind, Jun Gi-oh debates with himself. I think I have to tell him my next plan. Finally, he decides to speak up. By the way, how did you know? What do you mean? He asks, confused. Jun Gi-oh continues seriously. About me using the hero creation for my own benefit, because the meaning of hero creation isn't something known in this era. This era? He mutters. Seong-gu clarifies his question. You mean, you can create heroes? Everyone in this era believes that a hero is something born from the desires and fate of the supporter, as well as time. He is a bit surprised and hesitates. You know, are you... Her pupils dilate massively as she realizes the truth. A member of Asgard. His eyes suddenly glow with an incredibly mysterious golden light. His whole body radiates a powerful energy. The pressure spreads to the park swing, making it sway uncontrollably, and the trees along the road rustle violently. Inside the office, a member stands before the chairman's desk. They seem to be discussing something. He suddenly widens his eyes as if sensing something unusual. The subordinate is curious. What's wrong, Mr. Chairman? A sly smirk spreads across his lips. Nothing. I just felt something interesting happening. His face darkens with worry. Is this your true power? The energy gradually recedes into Seong-gu. He shuts his eyes tight, trying to regain his composure. Finally, he just calmly says one sentence. How did you know? It's written in the book, he thinks. From the moment I met him, he was already a member of Asgard. You skillfully turn it back on him. Why? Why did you do all those things just now? It makes me think you were acting while already knowing my plan. His lips curve slightly. Maybe I've got you all figured out, he answers frankly. I was very suspicious of you too, about your abnormal growth rate. That look and your actions. It's as if you already knew something. Jun-gyo can't help but exclaim, so you set a trap and I walked right into it. Hai thinks to himself, even though it was intentional, then continues to test him. Why do you think I did that? Seong-gu is silent for a long moment, patiently waiting. His confirmation is what the man least expected, because I want to join Asgard. All my calculations went smoothly, that's why. Jun-gyo is so confident. Asgard, a secret, extremely powerful organization of hunters. The real war is just beginning. The sky begins to darken towards evening at an abandoned construction site. Where there are stairs connecting to the upper floors, In-jong walks slowly while asking her question. Why did you ask to see me? He quickly gets straight to the point. It won't take long. Come with me. She basically doesn't want to waste the other person's time. I thought my value ended at the gate, he thinks. I no longer have any value to the Northern Army Guild, and I'm useless now. She bows her head slightly to hide her expression. Besides, someone like me can't do anything right. I immediately counters. No, you are a very valuable person. His hand clenches into a fist, trembling uncontrollably. You speak as if you know everything, Lee Jun-gyo. Tears well up in the corners of her eyes. Even so, she summons all her strength and shouts, Yes, you're right. The Northern Army Guild is a garbage dump, and I'm just a piece of trash in that pile. Outside the building, the sky today is gloomily indescribable. Not a single star shines through. Asks anxiously, what happened? She replies in a very heavy voice, What I just found out is even more terrifying. They killed people under the Guildmaster's orders, specifically, helpless civilians. Hearing this, he can't sit still either. She sits down helplessly on a stair-step, clutching her knees. Her current mood is full of despair. Do you still remember what you went through? When the conflict between hunters and normal civilians broke out? Her hand moves instinctively to cover her face. She doesn't want the other person to see her pathetic expression. They secretly assassinated innocent people during that conflict. Guildmaster Choi-jan, Seong truly treats people like weeds. The thoughts in Jun-gyo's head right now are incredibly chaotic. This is bad. A righteous person like her. It's hard to bear such earth-shattering news. At this rate, her spirit will be shattered forever, but I can't lose Dragon Slayer. Hai tries to press further. What will you do if something like that happens again? Then he slowly presents his argument. Gates suddenly appeared, and awakened hunters were born. Normal people won't be able to fight back when facing that kind of overwhelming power. The following words stirred up deep concern for In-trang. To think that a small guild like the Northern Army would cause such chaos. It's surely happening elsewhere too. Are you planning to just ignore the rest of those savages? You openly revealed your intentions. I want to put an end to this, fix the mistakes they've caused, and finally, you boldly declared the catastrophe you had seen and felt. I want to end it. Unable to just sit back and take it anymore, she suddenly rose up, retorting to the very end, Do you truly believe you can stop it? I know you have incredible power, but do you have any idea what his power is like? We're nothing but mosquitoes compared to him. The cruel truth escaped her own lips. I don't have the courage to fight that monster. Are you claiming you know how to defeat him and change the world? Facing the other's unwavering gaze, Jun-gyo knew there was no turning back. It was either act now or die. He glared, spitting out every single word. Having made up his mind long ago, I am someone who came from the future. This brand new information left In-trang stunned, and in that moment, he seriously revealed a disaster. A tragedy that will happen soon. A great flood that will kill many and destroy so much. At that time I will desperately need your power to give her time to process it. You proactively suggested a meeting. You've received the call from the association, right? I will meet you there. From now until then, think it over very carefully. Time passed until the next morning at a comfortable high-rise apartment building where the news ticker was updating the public on the situation. We have received reports of thousands of massacres caused by the Northern Army Guild. Hunters have murdered innocent people. The Northern Army is rotting away. Are there casualties? At the Songjai Gate, a prophecy of the punishment they must endure? Jun Gyeong pressed the button on the remote. This news report was much more detailed than he had expected. He secretly speculated, was this prepared in advance? I'm sure it was their doing. It's useless to dwell on it. Just let it go. The skull attached to his bracelet suddenly emitted a strange light. Notifications appeared one after another. The soul core has been activated and will transform into a true avatar. He immediately widened his eyes, as if he had been waiting for this for a long time. It's finally activated. It has collected the souls of Johnson and Josu, plus the water gem of the water monster and the water essence of the Win River. The avatar's name is Hyonmu. Call its name to summon it. He held his arm out in front of him. I don't know how strong this avatar will be. Muttering its name, Hyonmu, the skull detached from his arm and slowly grew in midair. It suddenly spoke up, asking, "Did you call me, Master?" Jun Gyeong was officially frozen solid on the spot. What is this? Where's the bone dragon? Does the skull have a mind of its own? Is something wrong? Lying on the rooftop of the building, which was an open space, it was written in the book that magical power is like the air. He meditated shirtless to more easily concentrate the energy in his body. Based on the available information, he analyzed it step by step. Myself and many other heroes, we wonder if we are truly utilizing the maximum potential of our magic yet. We wonder how to generate the true power of magic. Even though I knew about the existence of mana, I still realized this was impossible. I can't do it. He broke out in a cold sweat. The method the Demon King instructed to generate maximum magical power, because it wasn't detailed, it was very difficult to succeed. In his mind, countless calculations for the future formed. An unavoidable catastrophe is about to happen, and by then, the current A-rank hunters will become C+ rank. Before that happens, I must become stronger, but it seems so difficult. Just then, a message from Kim Soo-young was forwarded. I've been waiting outside to take you to the association. His hand clenched tightly around the phone that had gone dead. In his heart, he had already made up his mind. Finally, we meet. A new day arrived. Blazing sunlight shone down on the glass of the skyscrapers. On the streets, vehicles were bustling back and forth. Soo-young drove while trying to make conversation with the person in the back seat. I've never seen you worried before. Jun Gyeong just gave a faint smile. Am I not human? He frankly admitted, that's right. I don't think you're a normal person. Did I say something wrong? Even when going into all those dungeons and the Songjai Gate, you never worried. He unconsciously reflected on his actions. Is that so? While he rambled on, but if you're worried about meeting the association president, I guess he's not someone you meet every day. A mysterious smile was drawn on his face. But no need to worry. He didn't call you because you did something wrong. I'm sure this is just an occasion to talk about the achievements you've made. His expression suddenly darkened. More than 50 hunters died in the Songjai Gate, and among them was the guildmaster of the Northern Army, a guild with an incredibly high status. Jun Gyeong affirmed firmly, I am certain this is not a normal meeting to reward the survivors and report the situation. In reality, it is an extraordinary interrogation. Hearing that, Soo-young suddenly looked uncomfortable. I understand. I apologize for my shallow thinking. Remembering the conversation with CEO Gu not long ago. You want to join Asga? This isn't a matter I can decide. I don't know if you've heard the story. The story inside the diary said that Hindu was very disappointed with the current state of Asga. Their original goal was an effort to protect humanity, but Asga had collapsed. He pondered, connecting the clues. When CEO Gu met the Demon King, he had opposed Asga, but he still hadn't found a way. The Demon King also joined Asga for a short time, but he left with Hymno. Suddenly, his eyes widened with determination. I will join Asga before the Demon King and develop rapidly by utilizing all the resources they currently have. Until there was nothing left of value outside the towering architecture, a voice echoed, You're cleared to enter. Lee Junji stood before a massive door. As others walked inside, he watched the association president inspecting a bookshelf in the office. The man quickly turned around. My apologies. Even though I'm the one who invited you, I wasn't fully prepared. Things suddenly got quite busy today, he said, extending a hand. It's a pleasure to meet you, despite my shortcomings. I am currently the president of the Korea Hunters Association. My true name, which I'm revealing now, is Jang Hyojin. Jungi thought rapidly. This is the person the Northern Army Guild answers to, nearly to the point of worship, and also the person whom the Demon King mentioned hundreds of times in his diary. Based on the available information, Junji concluded that this man was an incredibly powerful figure, so much so that he had no other choice, other than acknowledging that the man was immensely strong and that he couldn't win if he fought him. He had to play along. As they shook hands to show goodwill, he introduced himself. I am Lee Jungi. Hyojin's mouth curled into a smirk. Well then, next. A crushing aura enveloped his entire body. Why don't we skip the pleasantries and get straight to the point? Who exactly are you? Hyojin's entire body was covered in an overwhelming aura. It seems you already know everything. Do we really need to waste time playing games anymore? I am the one backing the Northern Army Guild. Jungi's expression barely changed, though he recalled what was written in the diary. Do not trust anything about Odin. Everything about him is a lie. Jungi calmly replied, I'm aware. The dark energy surrounding the man slowly faded by half. The president held up the tablet in his hand with slight disappointment. You don't seem to be what I imagined. Did I say something wrong? He glanced at the record, clicking his tongue. Truly a special young man. He reviewed Jungi's glorious achievements from the past. According to the records, when you awakened as a hunter, you killed hundreds of monsters and a dungeon boss. You were rescued by the Allied Guild and rated as rank C. But in just 2 months, and then the fierce battle on the beach not long ago, you became a rank A hunter and were able to defeat the river insect all by yourself. Finally, the president concluded. An astonishing rates of growth, I like that. But I want to ask you one thing. The tablet suddenly erupted with blue flames and his attitude shifted instantly. Why did you kill him? Jang Seong was someone I was training. Facing the invisible pressure from the other side, Jungi didn't show a hint of hesitation. So you were observing everything through that crow, were you? It's simple. I just killed a hunter who was trying to eliminate me. Is there something wrong with that? His voice remained hoarse and heavy. Of course there is. You destroyed a piece I was grooming without my permission. Jungi didn't back down, firing bring back, wasn't he just a pawn to you? As you said, President, I will focus on the main issue. I want to join Asgard. This assertion made Hyojin pause for a moment before he stroked his chin with interest. Oh ho, you really have a talent for surprising people. You want to join, but do you even know what kind of place Asgard is? Junji answered bluntly. It's a faction established by the first hunters for the purpose of saving humanity. Isn't Asgard such a place? He added sternly. And you are Odin, the king of Asgard. I would like to repeat it once more. I want to join Asgard. Another strange point. This made the president flinch. The diary mentioned that Odin was not a person of good character. His benevolence was entirely feigned. In reality, he was craftier and more cruel than anyone else. But he still had one weakness. Hyojin suddenly became visibly excited. Amazing! How do you know all of this? From the existence of Hugin to the fact that the river insect was controlled, and you even told me how you get stronger by hunting monsters. It's like you're provoking me. There was still a long description left. Odin's innate curiosity and his desire to know everything was an bottomless pit. He wouldn't hesitate to sit in the same boat with an enemy if it helped satisfy his curiosity. Deep down, Jungi concluded this bet, a gamble with his life, seemed to be working exactly as the book described. Odin could not refuse his proposal because of his curiosity. The more the man asked, the more eager he became. More importantly, my eyes have no effect on you. You know about my eyes too? Junji continued to demonstrate his knowledge. Is it the eye of truth? This detail could be explained as follows. Because his eye had no effect on him, Odin was extremely intrigued. Furthermore, a notification appeared just in time, apocalyptic sky. It vehemently opposed those who intentionally disturbed a player's mind and warned those seeking the truth. Hyojin covered his face, trying to hide a twisted smile. Heh heh heh, how interesting! Very quickly, he returned to the composed demeanor of a president. Fine, I will allow you to join Asgard, but you will have to pass a few entry tests. Actually, initially, this was something suggested by Jang Seong, a foolish hero. But if you can pass the test, I will accept you as a official member of Asgard. A surge of lightning surrounded his body and underneath his blindfold. Of course, I have to suppress your mind so this doesn't leak to anyone else, right? The light spread to the outside, penetrating the glass of the high-rise building. Scene shift. Numerous canned drinks were displayed on the shelves inside a glass cabinet. Junji sat at a coffee table, deep in thought. Not only could he neutralize the Eye of Truth, but the mind suppression he had set up as well. Luckily, Odin doesn't seem to notice that much. He pondered deeper. Could it be that the apocalyptic sky doesn't just block mind suppression but also negates psychological attacks? If that were the case, it was more than just... Suddenly a figure approached and spoke up. "Mr. Jungi?" He snapped out of his deep train of thought. "Oh, sorry. I was lost in thought. Please sit." You concernedly ask Han if she met with the association president today. Did he say anything unusual? She doesn't look so good. He only said he felt very sorry about what happened to the Northern Army Guild. As she bows her head and hesitates, I can't ask why he did that. But at this point, Junguan doesn't mince words. "In Chang, I'm certain. The president actually wants to eliminate you too. Even though you know his true identity, why do you think he hasn't done it yet and is leaving you alone? Is it because you're innocent? You judge based on what you know of Hyojin, and I'm certain he would strike down an innocent person just the same." You quickly agree. "That's right. The only reason you're still alive is simply because..." Without hesitation, you bluntly blurt out, "You have no value, dead or alive. He doesn't consider you a threat." Even though the Northern Army Guild didn't pose a threat to him either. They were all killed as a warning to other guilds that he had returned. In-Chang bites her lip, trying to hold back the tears welling up. Her whole body trembling, she says, "I see. So I'm nothing at all." While she's hunched over in helplessness, a hand reaches out. "That is exactly why you should partner with me." You give a long explanation with a very serious face. "I intend to change this world. You can think I'm arrogant or conceited if you want, but for someone at their breaking point like you, don't you have nothing to lose by working with me?" These words seem to touch In-Chang's heart, causing her to lift her head. The corners of her eyes are red, as if she has just awakened from a long, desperate nightmare. Everything is finally settled smoothly with a handshake. Time passes, night falls, and Junguan and In-Chang return to the building where they first held their discussion after the guild battle ended. She speaks up. "So what do we do now?" You reply with another question. "In-Chang, I'm sure you received a sponsor while you were inside the gate, right? Can you tell me exactly what it was that you were sponsored?" An item is summoned on her fingertips. She says, "I don't know how to use it, but I received a blood dragon stone from the sponsor, which perfectly matches your deduction. Just as I expected, you give a brief overview of this treasure. The blood dragon stone, an ultra-rare crystal, the only thing mentioned 3 times in the Demon King's diary, and it is the catalyst that makes the immortal secret complete." Without hesitation, In-Chang moves it away as if to offer it. "I will give you this blood dragon stone." Hearing this, Junguan's eyes widen in surprise. He can't believe it. Doesn't she know the value of that stone? It feels like it's been ages since you've seen a radiant smile on her lips. Observing your reaction, she says, "I think you know its value better than I do." You take it while thinking deeply. "Even though I really want it, she gave it to me so easily. This is your sponsored item. Are you sure you can just give it away like that? It's something that could help you a lot, you know." She stands by her decision. "This is a gift for you, someone who believed in and acknowledged me. From now on, I will follow your lead." You clench it tightly in your palm. "I understand. I don't know why I was able to get the blood dragon stone." This is the moment you realize a shocking truth. Could it be, perhaps, looking at her innocent and pure demeanor, you could surely peg her as someone easy to fool, so easy it's surprising. A notification pops up just then. The apocalypse sky is laughing at you, looking at you smugly. Currently, Junguan is in a weapon shop. It's been a while, right? Jae-hyun asks, "Hey, what brings you here?" You look up, scanning your surroundings. Info about the swords on the wall appears on your screen, and you carefully investigate the other weapons in the corner as well. Finally, you utter 2 words. "Fantastic." Jae-hyun adds, "They aren't finished yet. Thanks to your help, the fire in the forge is under control, but the supply of materials is still unstable." Junguan breaks into a cold sweat, thinking to himself, It's unavoidable. A blacksmith's skill is important, but materials play an equally important role, and since this is just before the Great Flood, there's no way to get enough materials to meet the demand. The blood dragon stone suddenly glows brightly on your fingertips the moment you hold it out to Jae-hyun. The blacksmith stops in his tracks, his hand slamming onto the table in excitement. He cannot hide his extreme amazement. What is that? I've never seen a crystal like that before. To avoid confusion, you quickly deny it, but Jae-hyun raises his voice. Come on, everyone knows that. What kind of person in this world is so easily fooled that they would give away something so valuable and rare? Hearing this, Jungwon doesn't know how to react. I think there's one, you say, grabbing an item. Can I borrow your hammer for a second? Without another word, you walk toward the forge. Jae-hyun is frantic. Hey, what are you doing? You raise the hammer high, preparing to strike the gem. Your veins bulge, showing you're channeling a massive amount of power, and the hammerhead glows as if electricity is running through it. At this point, Jae-hyun can't stand still. You madman! Stop! I said stop! However, it's already too late. The powerful blow is delivered. Metal strikes the table with a deafening sound. The result is the blood dragon stone being completely shattered in two. Jae-hyun clutches his face in shock. Their face went deathly pale, as if they couldn't bring themselves to believe the truth. After recounting everything, the blacksmith regained his composure and picked up the two halves of the stone to examine them. So this is how it's meant to be used? The journal notes that the blood dragon stone can regenerate when it absorbs a specific amount of blood. In other words, it can clone itself, Jun Gyeong stated, laying out his request. Place one half of the blood dragon stone into the blind spell spear. It's not exactly easy to handle or refine, you know, he added, turning his head slightly with a hesitant look. And as for the other half, his gaze suddenly turned serious. This greatsword is similar to Siegfried's magic blade, a massive weapon soaked in the water that has been collected. It'll grab its attention. Place it on that greatsword. The other party responded courteously. This time it's on the house. Thanks to you, I didn't just manage to handle a rare gem, I even unlocked its secrets. Switching scenes to another location, looking down from above, it was almost impossible to make out the mountain landscape below, hidden by thick mist. A massive orc was sliced in half by a beam of light flashing across, while another took a diagonal cut that couldn't have been cleaner. Notifications kept popping up. Blood Dragon Stone has absorbed the orc monster sample. The regeneration rate of the Blood Dragon Stone is 1.7%. Standing before the pile of orc corpses, Jun Gyeong and In Chang simply watched from a distance. She shifted her gaze down to the brand new weapon in her hands. I really love this sword. I've never used a greatsword before, but it feels so smooth, like it belonged to me all along. She couldn't help but marvel. Jae-hyun is something else. He's a true master of weapon crafting. She then asked, what's the regeneration rate of the Blood Dragon Stone now? About 2%, I'd say, she estimated. He added, the stronger the monsters we hunt, the higher the regeneration rate will be. Her expression was filled with anticipation. Come to think of it, the way to use it, we've turned one into two, and those two will turn into four. I was so smart to hand that stone over to you. Responding to her was a look of extreme confidence from him. Suddenly, a loud noise erupted, followed by the appearance of a gigantic orc. It let out a wild roar as if to bolster its own strength. Then, it immediately launched a powerful attack. Jun Gyeong scrambled, jumping away from the explosion just in time to avoid it. All things considered, he landed safely on his feet. His whole body sagged after that reckless move. The boss of this gate is an orc warrior, a formidable force, but still, where's In Chang? After thinking for a moment, he called out to her loudly, In Chang! On the other side, she seemed to be struggling a bit more. She was forced to use her entire body weight to brace against the orc's attack. With her greatsword, her teeth gritted in resignation, because if she let up even for a second, she'd be crushed instantly. Luckily, she managed to break free from the deadlock, swinging her blade hard to knock it backward. Ah! This time, it was the orc's turn to be in a tight spot, its movements noticeably sluggish. The main reason was that Siegfried's greatsword had blocked countless attacks from the monsters. His lips curled into a proud smile. Just as expected, even the monster was surprised that a human could resist its power. In Chang continued to rush underneath it, finally delivering a vertical slash from bottom to top, while it couldn't react in time. Not stopping there, she jumped high into the air to gain momentum for a finishing blow. Her eyes widened, showing deep concentration. Same technique, but in the opposite direction. The fate of the orc warrior seemed sealed. As the sunset faded away, In Chang sat on the ground, looking a bit exhausted. Jun Gyeong spoke softly. In Chang, you have no idea how relieved I feel having you by my side. Those words motivated her quite a bit, her cheeks flushing pink with joy. He suddenly mentioned something only they knew about. Now, over the next 2 days, we have to go there, she agreed. So it's almost time, isn't it? He didn't forget to remind her carefully. For the next 2 days, keep hunting without pause and coordinate well. It will help maximize our survival chances, even if it's just by a little. She nodded repeatedly, showing she understood. Somewhere on her face, an indescribable excitement flickered. Jun Gyeong's gaze drifted toward a distant place as he pondered. Finally, the day for Odin's test had arrived. The sky was slowly turning into evening. Every floor of the apartment building was lit up. Jun Gyeong sat slumped on the sofa, exhausted. In just a short time, countless chaotic thoughts filled his head. We did the best we could, didn't we? If Siegfried gets the title, that would be great. But oh well, one way or another, she'll get even more than that later, so asking for more now is a bit greedy. Suddenly the doorbell rang, pulling him back to reality. Who could it be? At this moment, he and Seongu were sitting facing each other in front of the glass door, looking out at the city streets. He didn't want to waste time with pleasantries. I'll get straight to the point. Don't go tomorrow. If you go, you will die. This time was completely different from the Songlai Gate. His face couldn't hide his discomfort. Seongu, are you telling the truth? He slowly connected the clues. I've thought about it over and over again. How you knew about Asgard, why you wanted to join Asgard, and what your true purpose is. A genuine smile formed on his lips instinctively. But I've decided not to worry about those things anymore. I trust you. Jun Gyeong couldn't help but wonder why. Why do you trust me so much? He closed his eyes, showing not a hint of regret. I don't know either. My intuition just tells me to do it. He stood up from the chair after giving a careful warning. Regardless of anything, do not go tomorrow. Odin has already set his sights on you. Even if you don't take the test, you can still join Asgard as you wished. You haven't received the title yet, have you? Even if you don't take that test, you can still join Asgard just as you wished. You haven't received your title yet, have you? I kept insisting that you should be careful, warning that if you set out tomorrow, you wouldn't make it back alive. But it seemed those words couldn't shake your resolve at all. Thanks for your concern, but please don't worry, you replied with unwavering confidence, firmly believing that a determination held for so long couldn't be extinguished so easily, no matter what happened. I will come back alive. There are still so many things I need to do. Time flashed by, and soon you were inside a massive hall, its walls reinforced with heavy iron bars. 2 figures walked in side by side, silent and steady. They were Jun Gyeong and In Chang, dressed head to toe in black. Sudo stepped forward to greet his distinguished guests. Right this way, Hunter Lee Jun Gyeong, Dong In Chang. He didn't hold back any praise for them. Congratulations on your promotion, Kim Soo-jeon. He placed a hand over his heart and spoke politely. Seeing you perform so well as your manager, I benefit from it too. More importantly, having the chance to join this overseas expedition is truly wonderful. It's an absolute honor to represent our country as a hunter. I even bowed a full 90 degrees before Jun Gyeong. If you wait a moment, the gate will open. I hope you return safely. With that, he turned and walked away, leaving the 2 of them alone. In Chang suddenly exclaimed, He's a good guy. You agreed immediately. Yeah, he hasn't changed a bit. A spatial gate suddenly appeared in midair. A man in a suit announced, The gate to London has opened. You 2 may proceed. I wish you both a safe journey. The magic circle glowed with endless light. 2 British men were already waiting for them. It is truly an honor to meet the famous underdog in person. The famous underdog. Welcome to London. To explain, the term underdog refers to those who are at a disadvantage but end up winning spectacularly. Jun Gyeong responded modestly. Nice to meet you. We were sent by the Korean Association, Lee Jun Gyeong and Jong In Chang. She was a little surprised by his language skills. I didn't know you could speak English so fluently. That's really impressive. Not so pleasant memories flashed through your mind. I only learned it because in the land of Eden, if you didn't speak English, you weren't even treated like a human. You answered humbly, "It's not that big of a deal. I just happened to have the chance to learn it." The other man politely introduced himself. "We will escort you inside. Traveling through the gate must be exhausting. Tonight there will be a welcoming party for all the hunters who have gathered here for the expedition. We hope you both will attend." The moon hung high, clearly visible behind the floating clouds.